Yes, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone, for your patience, and thank you for being willing to do the test with us. And I also learned something else new today. I learned that you have to have an account now and able to join in on the live stream. I didn't know that. It wasn't like that before, so that must be a change that they made. I don't think I don't think it takes much to sign up for an account, you guys. If you want to do it, it's totally up to you. But if I remember right, it's just your email address and maybe another questions or two. So that's totally up to you. But I really appreciate everyone being willing to help, and thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to be here. Okay, so let me introduce our guest. So sorry all of this took so long. Lorraine, thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk with us and to share your targeting experience. So I'm going to give Lorraine's introduction. I'm going to read the bio that she sent to me. Is lengthy. So bear with me because it's going to take a while. She is a very accomplished woman, and when you are accomplished, such as she is, your bio is long. Okay, so if I leave anything out, you can feel free to, fill in the gaps. Okay. So our guest today is Lorraine Valente. She moved from Manalapan, New Jersey for 30 years as the original owner of her home. She became targeted there at least the year 2012, but possibly from 2009 after a lengthy divorce. Sorry to hear about your divorce. Her background is diverse. She is a former corporate human resource manager and staffing business owner who obtained two human resources certifications, one from Cornell University, ILR, and the other from the Society of Human Resource Management. She received her bachelor's in psychology with honors, with a concentration in abnormal, deviant, and violent psychology, with an additional concentration in substance abuse and addiction. Her master's of science is in psychology with a concentration in health, focusing on the mind-body connection and psychological patterns of disease. Lorraine is also an alcohol and substance abuse intern, having completed 270 hours towards the certified drug and alcohol counselor certification. Also a certified clinical hypnosis and Reiki master teacher. She offered regression therapy, education, and attunements. Since 2013, she has maintained a 502c3 cat rescue, Freya's Cat Rescue. And I know she has a real love and passion for animals, and I think particularly cats, but she'll fill us in on that. Lorraine has also studied metaphysics and healing since her teens and has practiced professionally for the past 20 years. She enjoys working with individuals, family, and relationship charts to aid personal growth. Comfortable with her intuitive abilities, they are often incorporated in her practice. Lorraine's past work offered a program called ADHD Alternatives, Learning to Live, to guide for parents for non medication alternatives. That's good. I like that. She currently resides on a farm in rural Kentucky where her targeting worsened. Property vandalism, trespassing, thefts, neighbor stalking, and harassment. Pet theft and pet harm are regular occurrences. She created a YouTube channel, and her channel is Alternative Homesteading. So you guys write that down. I'll put the link in the chat to educate the public about targeting, real estate mobbing, and gang stalking, and presents evidence on a regular basis. Woo, that was a mouthful. You are so accomplished. We are honored to have you here with us. You are really very, very accomplished. It sounds like you've had a very busy life, Lorraine. So, the first thing that came to mind as I read this is that when you think about people who are as accomplished as you are, you don't generally think that a person such as yourself would be targeted. So feel free to share whatever you'd like to share, fill in anything that you'd like to fill in. But I am interested in knowing how your targeting began, how you first noticed your targeting, and we'll just go from there. And as you guys listen in the chat, please leave your comments, as things come to your mind, anything you'd like to ask or any comments you may have, and I'll go back and forth and I'll read your comments. Okay, you have the floor.
Well, first, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. The last technical interview I did about my targeting was 2019, and obviously a lot has happened since then. So I really appreciate having me on your channel and discussing this, because this is really important. This is happening to so many people. And when you mentioned about being accomplished, I'm not the only targeted person that has a degree. I don't know if you knew Helena Chorba, who had a civil engineer's degree.
She passed away, right? Helena passed away, right? Yeah.
Yes. There are PhDs that are targeted. A lot of PhDs are targeted. Master's degree, certification. So it's if you ever listen to Brian Coffrin speak about the behavioral modification program, he calls it, is that most of the people, he says, are highly accomplished, highly intelligent. I mean, what are they going to do? Collect a bunch of, I don't know. If you're going to choose a test subject, right? You're going to choose a test subject. You're going to choose one that you can bring down, and that's what they want to do in this program. They want to strip you of everything that you've accomplished, everything that you've purchased, everything that you've done. They want to bring you down to their level. It's all a projection. It's a hate crime. At a very minimum, it's a hate crime.
True.
At the worst, it's human trafficking. I mean, I consider myself to be a human trafficked person. Yeah, I'm targeted. I mean, that's the word that flies across the internet. I'm being gang stalked, yes, but it's community harassment. I moved here not knowing anybody. And yet I have a group of people hating me, warring against me, envious, jealous, immature. I mean, the list is endless, but I want to backtrack just a little bit, because there are a lot of people that, one, don't know what my origins are, how it started and stuff, and not to spend too much time on that, because I really want to focus on a lot of what's been going on here and what I have done to kind of mitigate the issue, the solutions issue. But it started back in Manalapan, New Jersey. Again, I lived in that home for 30 years. I was married. I got married. We purchased that home together. That was our first home. And obviously, I got divorced. I ended up buying him fair and square out of the home with, my own money. But on top of buying him out of the home, I hired a lawyer, a law firm that literally financially raped me. After almost 3 years, I still was not divorced yet.
Oh, wow.
I'm fairly, yeah, I don't know. Part of my intuition says that there were several points in my life, from the divorce, then meeting a group of, I'm going to call them the feral cat cartel. They're a group of envious, jealous, pathetic cat. I don't even know if I can call them rescue people. They're all in it for the money. So there was that portion, the horrible divorce. I actually fired my lawyer. I filed an ethics complaint against him. And of course, if you go before the ethics committee, it's all a bunch of lawyers and they're all for each other. So nothing happened there. Other than that, I was still forced to pay him the balance of what I owed him, even though I never got a divorce from him. I had already paid him close to $35,000-$40,000, and I still wasn't divorced yet. So,
wow.
Yes, He threatened to ruin my credit if I didn't pay him the balance. I kid you not. And then I had to go hire another attorney and pay another retainer fee.
So let me ask you this, because I know several people who have divorced, but their divorce took years, like you just said yours did. So now that I'm hearing you say this, so that's a money grab, huh? When they stretch it out like that, when the attorneys stretch it
Oh,
out?
absolutely. Absolutely. We actually, my ex-husband and I already agreed upon a number of things. It was only until we hired lawyers, and he had
Mhm.
a horrible, nasty lawyer. I think his lawyer hated me too. When I think about it, so many lawyers were involved in over a 3.5 years time that I either went before a judge or when I ended up filing pro se against my ex-husband for not paying the support.
Mhm.
So many other lawyers became involved, and I was actually very good at preparing my complaints. In fact, I've had two judges tell me that I should have gone to law school.
Mhm.
And every judge that I went before actually granted me the file fees because of the way my complaint was structured, the evidence, etc. So I've been very successful in filing lawsuits, not only against my ex husband, but later there was a contractor who destroyed my patio pavers and I sued him in court also. So I've been in and out of court in New Jersey for a decade, literally a
Wow.
decade.
Wow.
So there's definitely a lot of opportunities for somebody to hate my guts.
Yeah. Mhm.
um, but I was thinking that that could have been it. And then of course the feral cat cartel. There was one woman in particular who was doing a lot of how do I? She was selling my cat and placing them for sale for adoption on Adopt a Pet, and I caught her.
Really?
Oh, really?
Okay, so before we get into the cat cartel, tell us a little bit about the property that you live on, because it isn't it like a, I don't know, I won't say a farm, but isn't it like a lot of land or a nice amount of land, and you have animals and particularly
Yes.
cats. So tell us about that.
Okay, so when I moved from New Jersey, I brought 28 rescue cats with me. Every one of them lived outside. So I socialized them first to live indoors,
Did you
and then
ship them, or did they all come in a car, or how did you get 28 cats?
I rented with my own money. I rented a van, an RV,
Oh,
and packed up 28 rescue cats. I have a photo of it. I have all the
wow.
I have all the pet carriers, and I took photo of it before we left. And yes, so we brought all the pet carriers onto the RV. My friend Rob drove me here. He was a gem. I know him since I'm 16 years old. He keeps
Okay.
reminding me about the day that I dumped him. We were dating. We were still friends.
But you remain friends. That's nice. Very
We
nice.
remain friends, right? Yeah. So yes, I can remain friends with exes even from the age of 16. So he drove me here with my 28 rescue cats. I had two more that ended up getting loose back in New Jersey, and I had to have actually three. I had to have one trapped inside my former residence because it found a hole underneath the kitchen sink
Mhm.
in the cabinets. So I had to get him trapped with the new owner there who said that he wasn't going to feed the cat or whatever. So we actually had to threaten him with animal cruelty if he didn't allow us to trap my cat. And he was a cop, by the way. I'm real proud
Yeah.
to say that he sold my house to a cop. But and the cops down the block were targeting me for sure. But yeah, so
Yeah.
I moved the 28 rescue cats. Then I sent um, a van back to get my other two cats there. This was months later, like 9 months later. I had to spend like another $1,000 to get my cats here. There's still one back in New Jersey that I support with food. I've got a neighbor that's taking care of him. sends me
Yeah.
photos and stuff. It's heartbreaking because I want him. He was like my little love.
Yeah.
Um, but since I'm living here in Kentucky, these criminals, these Satanists, these
Mhm.
witches, these Freemasons, and the local perpetrators have murdered, stolen, shot, run over, poisoned 28 cats.
Really? Oh, wow. How
Yes.
sad. That's terrible.
Oh,
That's
I've got video,
criminal.
photos. I have so much evidence about this. It's just unbelievable. What I'll say is this: my targeting New Jersey was horrible.
Mhm.
The asset stripping, I incurred approximately $300,000 in damages to my former house. Between burning down trees and poisoning trees, all my landscaping was burned, cut down, destroyed. They cracked the pipes under my sink during my inspection the night before. My house was in perfect condition, top to bottom. I renovated the bathrooms, the kitchen. I had sod in my backyard. I had gorgeous landscaping, all, pretty much by myself. Between the Manalapan Police Department, the Lieutenant Thomas Mantle, the former Chief of Police Michael Fountain, and their whole little gang of hockey puck club fun guys that love to target divorced single women, asset strip them because they have a home. That's what they did to me and another neighbor. And they were stalking me, they were harassing me. They said that I filed too many police reports. Well, is there a law about how many police reports you could file if they're valid? I would show them
Shouldn't
evidence,
be.
and it was
You wouldn't have
always
to file
discounted.
all those police reports if they were actually doing something about the problem.
Exactly, absolutely. Because they were involved. But
Mhm.
generally, if you go to a police department and you're not a target person, and you tell them you've had several break-ins, vandalism, they're going to be watching your house. They're going to catch that piece of whatever. They're going to catch that person. They will find a way to catch the person because you know what? It's a feather in their cap that they've caught a criminal. But when
Mhm.
you're a targeted person, no, all bets are off. I didn't know that they were involved until I filed several reports with evidence, even videos, and they wouldn't even allow me to have access to the report, even via FOIA. And when I finally did get the reports, they were empty, blank.
Yeah, that's what happens with the FOIA. They redact most of the information, so you don't really
Yeah,
get to find out what's going on or who's involved through not through the FOIA. You don't.
right. And it's a travesty against justice. I mean, they seem to have their own form of justice. If they don't like you, you know what? I don't like a lot of people. When I don't like somebody, I just don't have anything to do with them. And if I'm
Right.
required to be in their presence, I'll be as cordial, and that's it. But
Right.
this program is just horrendous. So in New Jersey, I did incur all that damage um, to the property, interior. Every time I renovated something, they destroyed it. I
That
installed
happens
new.
with me as well. Yeah. It happens with me. If we have contractors come in, they always break something, or we discover that they did something that they should not have done, or they halfway fix things, yeah, we'll find a way to tear up the property.
I have a question for you about that, just because you're a homeowner too. Now, when you first hire somebody, do
Mhm.
they initially start to work out and then they change, or is it always
Yes.
bad?
Yeah, well, it just depends. Like if it's a one-time fix, like one time we had someone come in to fix, I can't remember what he fixed. But it was just like, he fixed it and he doesn't need to come back. It wasn't like a whole project. It was like something broke. I can't remember what. But he came in with a backpack on. I didn't think anything of it. He went through the kitchen, he did whatever we had him fix. And when he left, he had intentionally like turned around and his backpack, this heavy backpack, knocked over a beautiful vase.
Oh
Beautiful vase.
no.
And at that moment, I realized he had done that on purpose. Now, since that time, we've had a couple others come in and do the same thing. I remember we had someone to paint. And as soon as the man walked in the door, he picked up a table like he was going to move it. Before he even came and said, "Hello, I'm the painter," he walked in the door, picked up a table, and knocked over this glass antique candy dish.
Oh no.
So they do these kind of things. I've had them
Yeah.
put holes in the wall. I've had them, yeah, you have to really watch them.
I've had the same thing happen here. In fact, I wanted to renovate one of the buildings. So it was like an open building, a pavilion building, and it didn't originally have a roof leak, but of course, after I moved here, it suddenly had a roof leak. So I replaced the roof, and then I decided to enclose the building.
Mhm,
Well, this is how I knew that something wasn't right. The person that I hired, he was going really slow, very, very
mhm.
slow. And then suddenly he told me that he couldn't work for me anymore because he was moving. But he was actually moving right up the block. It was very bizarre.
That
But the
is
way
bizarre.
it was very bizarre, and he um he seemed like he was afraid. He was nervous. So this is a guy that generally didn't have negative intentions, but I feel like somebody contacted him to not work for me anymore. That the
Yep,
slander campaign was alive and well and kicking.
yep. They definitely do contact people. I know that for a fact. I've had it happen. There's
Yes.
no explainable reason why they wouldn't get back in touch with you or return your calls. I lost car keys like 3 or 4 times this past summer. I don't know why that kept happening, but I kept losing car keys and house keys. And I had the mobile. They have mobile people that will come out and make a key on the spot. So I had this guy come out and make a key, and he was pretty good. I thought his prices were reasonable. But then he started acting a little strange, like towards the end of the visit, like right before he handed me the key. Like you can just what I'm trying to say is you can tell when they've been contacted. So then
Yes.
my keys were lost again months later, and I called him and called him and called him, and he would not call me back. Why wouldn't you want to make $500? They charge three to $500 to make these car keys. So yeah, they get contacted and then they
Well,
don't want to deal with you anymore. Smear
along
campaign.
those along those lines about the keys, when
Mhm.
I moved here, obviously I needed a locksmith, so I called the locksmith. He shows up. He's in his truck. He's got a dog in the truck, and he's in there waiting like a long time. And I figured, I know that they check their voicemails and stuff before they go to a new client. So he shows up. He's all tattooed and everything. He looks like a former military guy to me. So I show him my deadbolt. I needed a deadbolt installed, and there were some brackets that I wanted to put on the other side of the door and the second door. He said I wouldn't change the deadbolt. He said, why would you put a new deadbolt on here? Somebody could just punch your window and break right in and open the door.
Wow.
I said, oh well, that would be evidence, wouldn't it be?
Right.
He refused to install my deadbolt. And then when I showed him the brackets to install on the door, they're brackets that get screwed into the frame
Mhm.
and lock onto the door, so that if somebody tries to kick in your door, they can't kick it in. Like it's like 500 pounds, and I've got two of them on both of my doors.
That's good.
I,
Very good.
yeah, I've got my door that's just bolted shut. Like, I don't even use it anymore. I've got a security door on it, a regular door, and like, I bought, steel doors and stuff when I moved here. So this guy, this locksmith, says, I wouldn't do. He never did install my deadbolt. It's like he refused to install the deadbolt. And then when he was trying to figure out how to put the clips on the door, and I'm reading the instructions to him, and he turns to me and says, "Well, you have a PhD. Well, how come you can't figure it out?"
Had you shared that with him? Like, how did he know that?
No, I don't have a PhD. I was going into the doctoral program,
Okay.
and because of the targeting, it's kind of a longer story. They infected me with Lyme disease.
Mm-hmm.
So I became so weak, like over a 2-year period of time, I pretty much finished my master's. I was going into a doctoral program. I was already getting my credits, transferred over, it was going to be a forensic psychology, a PhD program. Like, I was on a roll, like I really just wanted to get it done. And that's when they started really kicking up the harassment. They infected my daughter and me with Lyme disease.
Oh, wow. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Yes. So, and it was ironic because she was in her last weeks of university, and she was going off to China for like an internship study.
Mm-hmm.
And I was finishing up my master's degree at the same time that she was completing, her university. So we both get infected with Lyme disease at the same time. Like, how is that possible? Like, she wasn't even home.
Yeah,
So it's just,
interesting.
yes. And I
Is
actually
your
found
daughter, is she targeted as well? Your daughter?
well, I don't really want to talk about that, but
Okay.
I know that they have done things to her.
Okay.
They did
You don't need to
in New
talk
Jersey.
about it. It's fine.
Yeah, what they did in New Jersey is when she was at university, she could not have her car. So her car was on my driveway. They were constantly draining the battery. Every time I go to start up her car, the battery would be dead. I can't tell you how many times I had to replace the battery, get it recharged or whatever, just for sitting on the driveway. And I didn't realize at the time, but that's what they were doing. They were doing that to her car. They set her up in a parking lot for one of these criminals to park next to her and not give her enough space to move out, and then sued my daughter's insurance company for backing out and like just touching the back of her car, the other woman's car. My daughter could not even get out of her parking space because this woman had backed up that way, and she was hardly speaking English, and I knew what was going on.
Yeah. They definitely do a lot of staged accidents, and I've had it happen many times. They do so many things with the cars. So many.
A lot of things with the cars and stuff. But
Yes.
yeah, so kind of things like that. There were other things. I don't really want to talk about the things that they've done to my
Yes, yes,
daughter.
don't. Please don't talk about anything you're not comfortable with. So I believe you mentioned that that they had set you up to be institutionalized, or did anything like
Oh,
that happen?
no, well, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't. I didn't get the real Baker Act treatment. What they did is they wanted to punish me for filing police reports that were
Mhm.
accurate with evidence. So they called me up on the phone. Lieutenant Thomas Mansell called me and said, "Can we drop off a property loss statement?" I said, "Well, you've never given me one before." He said, "Oh, yes, we have." I said, "No, you have not. I would have filled it out. I would have known about it."
Mhm.
And I thought it was odd. And I'm waiting, thinking, okay, they're dropping it off. Hours go by, and I just run my errands, come back. I don't know, it was just before 3 o'clock. They show up with a woman. She has no form of identification. She's not introduced to me. I don't know her name. I don't know where she's from, but she's got the classic clipboard, right? So I
Wow.
walked to the tree that was vandalized. I mean, it was so obvious. Somebody took a saw to the tree, sawed off the branches, um, pulled off branches, and then I had, I think there was some other report that I was handing them, some other information that I was handing them. She had the audacity to ask me what my sleeping patterns were like. Now, the night before, and I didn't tell anybody this at the time, they were targeting my cat all night long. They were hitting him with a microwave or a directed energy weapon or something. Every time he would get up to walk, he was being whacked to the floor, and they killed him.
Oh.
Yes, he was perfectly healthy, beautiful cat. His name was Cinnamon. He was a feral cat that I rescued, brought inside, socialized him. At first, he wouldn't allow me to touch him. Then he was allowing me to pet him. And then he turned into the cat that I could dance with. You ever see those videos where, you know, the dog owner will do a dance and the dog
I
will
think I've
follow?
seen that. Yeah.
Well, this cat would follow me. I would turn on the music. I would walk in one direction doing a dance, and he would follow me. And I would turn, spin the other direction. He would follow me. It was so cute. They killed him.
Oh,
So
I'm
they.
sorry to hear that.
It was horrible. It was just
They do
devastating.
target animals, you guys, and in case you don't know that or believe that, they definitely do. I've had it happen to my dog.
Yes,
They definitely
yes,
target the animals. Yeah.
yes. As far as the animals, they broke the neck of my canary, and they.
Oh.
Oh yes. Oh, the list is endless. They went after my pets like nobody's business. Yes, in a house full of cats, I had a canary and a chinchilla. They suffocated the chinchilla. They broke the neck of the canary. They have murdered cats in my house and posed them. Posed them. They harmed the eyes of my cats. They blinded my mother's cat because my mother knew what was happening. She believed what was happening. But getting back to
Hmm.
the property loss statement with the criminals at the Manalapan Police Department showing up at my front door, I think his last name was Joyner. So that was the cop that showed up my door with Tina Booth. Tina Booth works at the Monmouth PESS. Provided no form of identification, no business card, no name, no nothing. She's there with her clipboard, analyzing me, telling me that, asking me about my sleep patterns. I did not tell them that my cat was murdered the night before.
Hmm.
So I'm getting a sick feeling while I'm at the tree, and I decided to end the conversation. I
That
said,
was
well,
good.
yeah, I decided to end the conversation.
Because what she was doing was assessing you without you knowing that. Well, you know that. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Meanwhile, here I am providing them evidence. She didn't even look at the tree. So, and she didn't ask why I didn't sleep the night before. And I didn't
Hmm.
tell them that I was up with a sick cat because it was none of their damn business. It was none of their
Hmm.
business.
Right.
I'm ready to end this. And I said, well, this is the report here. I'll fill out. Can I have the property loss report? Nobody had given it to me then. This police officer Joyner was holding a piece of paper, which was obviously the property loss report, but he wasn't going to give it to me just yet. That
Hmm.
wasn't their intention. So I walked to my front door and I said, goodbye. Goodbye. I close my door, and Tina Booth holds onto the handle the other side and pulls it out. I pull it back and she yanks it back. She literally broke into my house. This is somebody I
Wow.
didn't know her name. There was no warrant, nothing. I did not, this was a stranger breaking into my house.
Well, they came with a mission. They came to take you away from there. Yeah.
They had a mission. of course, once they got in, what am I going to do? So I called my mother on the phone. I had my mother on one phone,
Mhm.
and I called, and I'm just going to say her name. Her name was Connie in Connecticut. I don't remember her last name. I could look it up, but I won't. Connie in Connecticut was a member of the targeting community, and she was an alleged friend. She's a former FDA whistleblower, allegedly. I don't know of whistleblowers that continue to work at their companies, but that's what she did. So maybe she wasn't exactly who she said she was. But nevertheless, I had done some favors for her in the past. We were in contact with each other. We've spoken on the phone. We've communicated with each other. We were literally TI friends, right?
Yes.
So I call her on the phone and she's furious. She's yelling at them at the speakerphone. Get out of her house. What are you doing there? You have no right to be there. Like she's defending me.
Mhm.
And this is all, you can hear this on my, whatever, they didn't wipe clean. So my mother's on the phone on speaker. Connie's on the phone on speaker pretty much during this whole time. So Tina Booth then starts reading off that I'm going to need to go to the Central State emergency room for evaluation. It's like Central State emergency room. That's a
Yeah.
hospital emergency room, like for sick people, like if you've got a disease, if you're whatever,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
broke your
Yeah.
arm, you got poison ivy, you got a stomach ache.
Mhm.
So, and then she says, well, I think you need to be evaluated. And I said, well, by what criteria are you utilizing to make that determination? Like, you've just met me.
Right. And what did she say?
Nothing. She offers nothing. So then
Wow.
Joiner, then it gets really good. So while I'm in my house, unbeknownst to me, I find out later on my security camera footage, the footage that they did not delete, because they deleted all the footage from my porch cameras that would have clearly shown Tina Booth holding onto the door handle and breaking into my house.
Oh, they conveniently deleted that. Okay.
He deleted all the porch footage, and I had cameras on my porch pointing outward and pointing towards my front door,
Mhm.
all deleted. But they didn't delete my driveway camera footage. And that's actually on my YouTube channel. You can go search for you can go search for Tina Booth broke into my house and you can go find that video. I've got lots of videos of the Manalapan cop crime family breaking into my house. Um, so Joiner, this police officer is there with Tina Booth, and then Sergeant Carey shows up on my driveway. Sergeant Carey, Police Officer Castella on my driveway with their weapons, holding their hands to their weapons. Like another targeted person pointed out to me, Lorraine, do you see that? Like he's his hands on his gun, like ready to draw it.
Wow.
Yes, and then Tina Booth's ride was there, and then an ambulance pulls up. I don't know this. I'm in my house. This is the footage that was saved from my upstairs cameras that they didn't wipe clean because they weren't smart enough to get rid of all the camera footage. only thing, but it's still implicating that you could see them walking up and down my driveway. You can see Tina Booth's accomplice talk to my UPS guy, smoking cigarettes on my driveway, putting her cigarettes out on my driveway, trespassing my property, trying to intercept my UPS package.
Oh
These are
my
all,
goodness. And all
yes,
of this was because you called the police to make a police report? Is that what you said?
absolutely.
Wow.
Yes, they said I have too many reports. How many are too many? I'm 65 years old. At the time, I was what, 61? I'd lived there 30 years. some of the reports that I filed had nothing to do with me. I was a witness to a crime.
So you were a witness to a crime
Yes.
recently? Okay.
No, in New Jersey. Oh yeah,
Oh,
a woman being abducted. I witnessed her being shoved into a car, trying to get out. The light, she's flashing the lights, trying to get out. And I called the police department, and I said, there's a woman. She's being abducted here. Like, I'm sitting outside. I went to get a coffee after feeding the cat colony. I went to get a coffee. I'm sitting in my car, and I'm watching all this go down. I'm seeing him first struggle with her, holding her in front of me, walking by, and then literally shoving her in the car.
oh man.
So I reported that. I find out that they did end up arresting him.
Well, that's
But
good.
I reported traffic accidents. Come on, I'm there 30 years. I was a good citizen, so I would report crimes if I saw them. I will
They
never.
don't like that. They don't like that. I noticed that. They don't like that.
I'm going to mind my own business, and I'm not going to report any crime anymore. Let them find it themselves, because they sure as hell, commit their own crimes. Let them go investigate their own selves. Oh, which they did do. So I actually, while they're in my house, while all this is going on in the background, Joyner says to me, he says, well, you can go to the emergency room willingly or unwillingly. And I realized that if
they had no justification to do that to you. It happens to kids all the time, though. It's really too bad. Sorry to hear that.
Well, at that point, this is December 2018.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already targeted since 2012. I've gone through divorce proceedings. I had a bona fide stalker that I was in court with him. I was in court with the contractor that destroyed my patio, renovating rooms in my house, driving my daughter back and forth to university. I have an extremely busy life. Going from a master's degree, I have these thugs wanting to take me out, to discredit me. And what they did is they drug tested me. I don't smoke, I don't drink alcohol, I don't do drugs, I don't take an aspirin, I don't eat meat, I don't drink soda, I eat organic food. I live a healthy lifestyle, except for the fact that I am being bombarded with microwaves and targeted and poisoned and
talk about the poisonings, please, because there are other TIs that get poisoned. So was it food poisoning, or what? How did that happen, and how many times?
I just want to finish one little thing. I ended up being at the hospital for 6 hours, and my mother, who at the time was 85 years old, drove down to get me and bring me home. And Tina Booth called the hospital the next day, and she was furious that I was let go. While I was there, I never saw a doctor. I never saw a psychologist. I never saw a psychiatrist. I only saw a nurse. That's it.
Interesting. See, they want to label us. They need to label us. So just about every TI, I think it's safe to say, has either been Baker acted. Here in California, we call it 5150. Been in some sort of institution or jail. They have to label us a criminal or a mentally ill person.
Well, they couldn't do that with me, at least there, because in the notes, when I got my notes back, they said that everything was fine. My blood pressure was a little high. Yeah, of course that was a little high. I was torn out of my house by a bunch of thugs.
But see, now it's on your record. Now it's on your record that you were even there in the first place.
In the emergency room.
Oh, it was at the emergency room. Okay. Well, maybe that's a little different. But the notes would probably say for a psych evaluation.
No, well, she did. She was an external person But there was nobody in that hospital that validated anything.
That's
And
good.
I was
That's
gone.
good.
I was gone in 6 hours. And
Mhm.
I also filed a complaint. I filed a 61-page complaint.
Oh, wow. That's a lengthy complaint. What type of things did you say in the complaint,
Okay,
just for those who are listening?
well, I received an invoice. I received an invoice from EMS, the
Mhm.
hospital. Uh, um, I received 3 invoices that total like over $1,000. I don't know,
Mhm.
1,700 $1,700. I wasn't going to pay a dime of it. So, and even still to this day, one of them is on my credit report. I don't care. I will never pay it. I in fact told the credit agency exactly what happened. I said, go send it to the Manalapan Police Department. They wanted to drug test me because they wanted to steal my DNA. Let them go pay for it. That's basically what it was. They also not only wanted to steal my DNA, get me out of the house, they stayed on my driveway, according to my cameras. They stayed on my driveway for at least 40 more minutes after I was gone.
That's interesting. I wonder if they
Yeah,
went inside. Did you
I
notice on
guarantee.
your cameras? Did they go inside your house?
I guarantee they were in my house.
Hmm.
Yes, yes. And then they had a little my painter. They co-opted my painter at the time, who stole $4,000. And that was actually the document that I was giving the police officer about the theft of $4,000 from my painter. Literally, I had all the documentation there.
Wow.
So yeah, so I filed a 61-page complaint with the Attorney General Criminal Division, filed complaints against the Manalapan Police Department, against the
Mhm.
Central State Hospital, but
Mhm.
mostly the Manalapan Police Department and Tina Booth. And what they took my 61-page complaint and sent it to the prosecutor's office. Well, I've already been to the prosecutor's office. In fact, I first went to the prosecutor's office when I didn't get any results from the prosecutor's office. I went to the sheriff's department, got no response from the sheriff's department. That's when I exhausted those resources, then I went to the attorney general. And then what the attorney general is was pass the buck. They passed the buck to every other person that I went to. And then what did the sheriff's department do?
None of them help. They just don't
I'll tell
help.
you, well, I'll tell you what they did. It's like when a child runs away from home because they're being abused,
Hmm.
they're being whatever. I can't even say it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then police bring them back home to the abuser. Well, my 61-page complaint, the sheriff sent it back to the Manalapan Police Department, who performed their own internal investigation and discovered that my complaint and all the evidence was unfounded.
Oh, wow. You mentioned that your neighbors are involved in your targeting as well, which
Yes,
most TIs do experience, like the community-based harassment. Not only our immediate neighbors, but throughout the community, we usually get
yes,
harassed. Most of us, not all of us. Do you
yes,
experience that? Because I know that you did mention that your neighbors have a tendency to let their dogs loose on your property and other
yes,
things.
yes. And that was in New Jersey also. They actually had a neighbor next door to me in New Jersey
Hmm.
that lived there for a year, then moved across the street, and a new bunch moved in. And they called the police on me. They actually called the police on me
Why?
for
What for what?
they started an argument with me. They
Mhm,
had destroyed a portion of my property, so I wrote
mhm.
them a letter. They wrote me a nasty letter back, and that actually the letter that they sent me back was stolen from my desk.
Oh,
But the police are ignorant in some ways. They like to steal things. But I already scanned it into my computer, so I already have a copy of it. And actually, the copy of it's on my YouTube channel. So they stole it, thinking that, oh well, if she doesn't have that letter that the neighbor sent you, that nasty letter, it's going to prove that you didn't have a tiff with them. So it's okay that they called the cops on me. But I proved to the cops that these people were harassing me. They didn't want to hear it. So yeah, so as a result of them destroying my property, my writing them a letter, she has the audacity, my neighbor has the audacity to start a fight with me. And I'm on my driveway telling her, you know what this is about. You destroyed my property. She told the police that I cursed at her with her infant son in the car.
And
I said,
if you or anyone had cursed at her with her infant son in the car, that would not be a nice thing to do or a neighborly thing to do. But it's not a crime. It's not
but I
something that you should be
no, she
calling
made
the
it up.
police for.
Absolutely. But once she made it up, I did not curse at her. I
Hmm.
didn't curse at her
Well,
at all.
I know
There
you
was no
didn't, but
child
I'm
in the
saying
car.
that's not a crime. That's not a crime
No,
if you did. Yeah.
absolutely. But there was no child in the car. She actually exited out of her house to start a fight with me. That's what she did. And then
Well,
she
she
called the
was a
police.
perp. She was obviously a perp. So yeah.
Oh yeah, she was following me around. Like when I would be gardening, she would follow me around from the other yard. But getting back to here in Kentucky, so I moved here in 2019. I was actually living in my car for 6 weeks
Oh
before my
boy.
house could be delivered. Another long story. I was supposed to live somewhere else on my property. They set it up so that I would be a better target where I'm living now. So
Mhm.
they from the day I moved here, my neighbor, the guy, my immediate neighbor, he thinks he's being neighborly. So he says, "Oh, well, why don't I show you where your property begins and ends?" I said, "Okay." I'm thinking, "Oh, he's going to be so neighborly. He's going to show me because I don't know. I'm so stupid. I don't know that I own the property." And so he walked me he walked me across the street because I do have property across the street, just as an FYI.
Mhm.
And the county road goes through my property and actually goes through his property. So there's an easement that we all have here. So I've got like a 1.43 acres across the street, but I didn't know how much of it I had at the time until I had it
Mhm.
surveyed. That's a whole other story. So he walks me down the block. He walks me all the way down the block to the middle of my property, the middle. And it says, "Your property starts here and it ends here." And he walks me to the end. Now, I knew that wasn't right. I just knew that wasn't right. And then another day, I'm on my driveway. Again, I'm living here in my car. I've got all these rescue cats. I rented a pod, got my rescue cats in a pod with their beds and everything. And he lets his dogs loose to run up my driveway. And he's
Oh,
carrying, looks like a whip to like intimidate me.
wow.
Let me just sidetrack. This is not a big man, okay? This is I can't say it on your pod here, but he's a little man. He's a thin man. He's a slight man. Like on a really good day, like if I were in really good shape, I could take him out. If he wasn't carrying that that revolver of his that he carries on his hip all the time.
I'm just curious, what was the purpose of him telling you where your land begins and ends? What was the
Oh,
purpose of that?
well, because they have been trying to steal my lands, probably from
Okay.
the former owner. They were probably trying to steal the land from him because the former owner allowed them to sometimes use the driveway
Hmm.
that belongs to me to get to his property. So, this is a very rural area. We've got waterways here. We've got a county creek that kind of meanders through different properties. It cuts through mine. Like I've actually got most of the county creek on my property. The rest of the county creek meanders across the street, goes down to his property. So unless you have a different way of getting to property, you have to create these little bridges to get across them. And a lot of people do. We have these little bridges that go over the creek, and that's just the way it is. And they
Hmm.
have another way to get onto their land across the street because they've got more property than I do. They've got like 100 acres of land.
Right.
They've lived for a long time. They don't need to get go through my driveway to get through their property. And if they have to go through my driveway to get to their property after all this time, that's not my problem. It wasn't the former owner's problem. The former owner's gone. He's deceased. The property
Right.
was deceased. So they wanted to continue to use that driveway. And they wanted to let me think that that driveway belonged to them when it did.
Okay.
So, yes. So then I got a little land survey, and then they started harassing me even more. So
You got what type of survey did you get?
Called a land survey.
Oh, a land survey.
And what they do is they take it took a long time. It took weeks. They have to go out there with their measuring devices and measure from trees to roads to, they look at your deeds, they look at other people's deeds. It's a lot of work. It's costly. It's several $1,000s. Most people don't do it. But the problem is everybody around here says, oh, well, that's my land. Well, no, it's not your land. And until you could prove it's yours, it's not yours. And they can't prove that even their land.
Well, that's what surveyors are for. Yeah, that's what the surveyors are for. They come out and survey the land.
Yes. It's very common, though. What happens around here is a lot of times the land is passed down from generation to generation.
Mm-hmm.
So they just assume that, well, my property starts here, it starts there, it goes at the walnut tree, at the rock over there, and that's the way they measured things back in the day. And then when it gets passed down, a lot of nefarious people override what they know to their boundaries are, and overstay them. And I believe that they did that with the former owner, who was a very generous man, but in his passing, he didn't leave them anything. So he left everything to his sons. So, and then I purchased the property. They put it up for sale, and I purchased it, and they have been harassing me ever since.
So is that where you believe your targeting started? No, because it started before you moved there, right? Where and when did you first notice your targeting?
And around 2012 in New Jersey.
Okay.
Yes. Actually,
what was going on in the early days of your targeting to bring it to your attention? How did you first discover it?
What brought it to my attention was the feral cat cartel. But even before that, I became involved with a group. I'm just going to call them celebrity narcissists, okay? I'm just going to call them that. I mean, if I named their names, everybody would know who they are, and everybody would be like, no, they couldn't do something like that. Well, yeah, celebrities are involved.
I don't know, because us we in the TI community, we would believe, no matter who it is, we would probably believe it, and maybe some have even experienced it themselves. Like, we go through some pretty bizarre experiences, so I don't think it would be surprising to any of us.
It's not surprising, because what happens with celebrities is, especially if they're wealthy and they're well known, they have to be really careful about who they interact with, and most of the time, their friends are kind of close. They don't venture out. There are a lot of people that they can trust and can't trust, and of course they've got business connections and stuff. But generally, their friends are, they're close knit. But what ends up happening is they do get bored, and they want to meet lay people like me. They want to converse with other people, but it has to be safe to them. So a lot of times it's on the internet. So, and I'll say that it was basically, I received a newsletter from one of them, who I think he found me because I was a professional astrologer, and I read charts. And they're heavily involved in metaphysics. They're heavily involved. Every one of them has an astrologer. They pay astrologers. They know astrology. They know their own charts. They can tell you better than some astrologers. They're all involved. The presidents are involved. The Freemasons are involved. Everybody's involved in astrology, the tarot, metaphysics, numerology.
Yes, they
numerology. And see, the thing is, what people don't realize is that these are ancient. It's a science and an art form. Okay, it's all science and an art form. What it is, it's planetary geometry, and the way the planets connect with each other is energy. And when energy collides, when it connects, as above is below. Okay, that's the only way I can describe it for lay people. Is what happens above affects us here. What happens to the moon cycles affects us here. It affects the tides, right? When there's a full moon, there are more tides, there are more births, there are more accidents, there are more. In fact, this is true. I don't know if it's still there. The Manalapan Police Department keeps a chart on their wall of the full moon cycles because they know that crime increases during the full moon, and they're out there.
See,
So
I
anyway,
always thought, because where I grew up, we would notice that when there was a full moon, there'd be more crimes, there'd be more crazy things happening in the neighborhood. And this is back when I was younger. And we just make these little jokes like, look up, it's a full moon. We should have known something was going to happen. Like all these crazy things would happen. But I came to the conclusion that it's just because people say that, just because people say, oh, it's a full moon, something's going to happen. That's what I came to the conclusion, because I don't believe in all that other stuff. I don't. I believe in the Lord Jesus, and that's it. I don't believe in that other stuff. So I came to the conclusion that people just know it's a full moon and they just act crazy. That's
well, basically, what it is that the moon has a pull on water, and that's why sometimes the tides get really high during a full moon. But because we're composed of a lot of
mhm.
water, that it affects us also, and affects some people more than others. So that's pretty much why. And also, I think that it's a lot lighter outside, and people think, oh, it's lighter outside. I can stay out longer. When the moon is dark, when it's a new moon, and you cannot see the moon in the sky.
Mhm.
Um, and then what happens is it becomes balsamic when you see that little crescent form when it's increasing in light. That's when a lot of times people will start to become more active, and even the animals outside, the wild animals, my cats. Um, when it's the dark of the moon, everything's look quiet inside, and then when the moon is increasing in light, people become more active. Things become more active, and it's statistically it's true. But
I think
anyway, so
someone has a question for you. Truth, you can type your question in, or I can actually give you guys a link too if you want to come in and ask your question. You don't have to show your face if you don't want to. Um, I was informed this afternoon that you have to be registered, I guess, with StreamYard to click on that link. It didn't used to
yeah,
be that way, but there's the link if you want to come in and ask your question, or if you want to type your question or comment in the chat, I will be happy to read it out for you. So let me just look through here because there were some comments.
some two truth serum says, "Can I ask a question?"
Yes, and I just asked. I put the link for Truth if he wants to come in. But I also said to him, you can type your question. Let's see. Carol says, and I'm going back to like 516. Carol says one doesn't rise, above rank of sergeant unless they join the brotherhood. That goes for law enforcement or the military. I believe
Thank you.
that.
Yeah, I believe that
I
too.
believe. hmm They are all brotherhood, that's for sure. Um,
And as far
someone,
as the poisoning,
yes.
that started in New Jersey.
Okay.
I'll just say, I'm one of those people. I never get sick. I never get sick because, like in New Jersey, I worked out. I was really healthy, ate healthy, and all that stuff. I just never get sick. I get a sniffle, whatever. And then I remember starting to get headaches. I never get headaches. I was starting to get some headaches, made no sense to me. There were a couple of times I had a fever. out of
Mm.
nowhere, like a high fever. That didn't make sense. And there was another time I woke up and I'm feeling totally nauseous after, full night's sleep and literally having to go and vomit. Um,
Oh.
I knew that I was being poisoned or something. Like it was the earlier stages, like
Mm-hmm.
around 2015, um, where this stuff was happening to me, and none of it made any sense to me because, like I said, I just don't get sick. And I noticed I would wake up and my feet would be vibrating, my
Oh.
toenails, yeah, my toes would be red.
Wow.
Um, and I sometimes I would wake up with blisters on my feet.
Hmm.
I would wake up with burns on my body. Um,
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that a lot. I think that might be directed energy. I've heard many TIs say that about the burns.
the burns on my body, out of nowhere. I had scratches. I woke up one day with scratches all over my back.
Yeah, I've had scratches. Yeah.
I woke up with scratches all over my. I'm a back sleeper, and I'm like one of those people. When I get into bed, I don't move. I just go to sleep and wake up in the same position.
Yeah.
And I woke up with scratch. I'm thinking, how, your mind doesn't go there. You don't. You just don't think how that. How can that happen?
Right. Let me see what's happening in the chat. Carol says they're demonic hybrids. That's why there is a disconnect in our communication with them. And I'm not sure what we were talking about at that time. Carol, as well gives us Ephesians 6 and 12. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, the authorities, and the wicked spirit forces in heavenly places. Thank you for that, Carol. Thank you. Um, Teresa from Central Illinois, welcome. Carol says, yeah, these old roomies are working with 1960s tactics and technology. Let's see. Teresa says, yes, I'm a landowner, also going through the same. Yes, land survey expensive, but you have to protect yourself. I would put the biggest fence I could find, but that can be very costly too.
It's
I,
so it's almost an impossibility where I live. Um, it's a rural area, and you can't even get
mhm,
people. You can't even hire people.
yeah,
So, and they've torn down so many gates. I've had 3 gates torn down. I've had
yep.
fence torn down, and the list is endless. The asset stripping, the pet harm, the poisoning of the grass. I had a helicopter and a plane over my house last week. I documented this on my channel.
Hmm.
Right before I woke up, they were literally burning my grass,
Oh,
laser or something.
wow.
It was a lot of grass.
Okay. Teresa says they will set you up to make you look crazy or poison you slowly to make it look like you cannot take care of yourself. I'm in
Yes.
hospital rehab nursing home now, recovering from the last attack. Oh my gosh, Teresa, you're in like a hospital setting now, in a hospital rehab nursing home. I'm so sorry to hear that. And you said that that you're recovering from your last attack. It's very unfortunate because we can't go to a hospital or a facility like Teresa's in and tell the truth about what's happening. You can't say like this is the effect of directed energy, but you know that it is. So I'm really sorry that that's happening to you, and I hope that you get better.
It's just horrible. And there's so many of us that end up in the hospital. And they're trying to
Mhm.
do that with me. I woke up, it was either yesterday or the day before, the morning before, and they had been targeting my ankle. They're trying to incapacitate me.
I was gonna
They're
say, I know people who have become crippled, and it's just it's really bad. It can be really really bad.
Yes, they hit me in my arm. I was on the riding lawnmower a couple of years ago, and they hit me in my arm, and I couldn't move it,
Oh,
literally for a couple of weeks. It was
oh.
horrible, and it was like the day before or whatever that I was going into court with my
Mm-hmm.
neighbors.
I'm sorry to hear that. So Truth has typed in his question, and he wants to know what will it take for this program to stop. What do you have any thoughts on that, Lorraine?
Well, I don't know. I'm going to say I have some good news and some bad news on that. I think more and more people are becoming aware that this
Mm-hmm.
is really happening. People are speaking out. People are creating YouTube channels. People are providing evidence. So far, nobody has done anything to help us. I believe that the tentacles, this is organized crime. And it's organized crime not only involving the elites that look at us as entertainment and profit off of us, but there are so many people involved. Entire states get funded for this program. The
Mm-hmm.
COPS program is funded by the Department of Justice. We're talking about millions of dollars in grants to every state. It funnels in through the states and it goes down to the counties through the granting process. And the wording of these grants is cloaked on infrastructure, protecting infrastructure, counterterrorism.
Mm-hmm.
These are all cloaked words that
Mm-hmm.
mean targeted people. Um, as far as
Also, if excuse me, I'm so sorry for
no,
cutting you
go
off.
ahead.
Go ahead. I
Oh
was
no,
gonna.
so I wanted to
I
say
was
that
gonna. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
people speaking out like this and people that are credible, providing evidence and speaking like this. I mean, it. And for instance, with my neighbors here in Kentucky, when the county lawyer is involved, when the sheriff's department is involved, when the judge is involved, what do? What did I do? Neighborhood wars on A&E. If they don't want to do anything here, I'm going to expose it. Expose it. You get a citizen journalist, you get on the air. So if you want to see my crazy neighbors on Neighborhood Wars, April 11, 2023 on A&E. And I have the link.
I watched that. You were on Neighborhood Wars. I do watch that.
Wars, exposing my crazy neighbors. Talking about crazy who needs to be in the loony bin. They are literally nuts.
Wow.
They're nuts. So, yes. So, there was somebody who said in the chat that, yeah, they want to make you look crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the thing is, there was a lawsuit. It's the eBay lawsuit. The eBay lawsuit against a couple in Massachusetts. It's a closed case and whatever, but I still have the lawsuit, and I'm still going to talk about it because I have the lawsuit. Helena Chorba grabbed it before it was removed from the internet. So what it was retired police officers that went to work in the eBay security department decided that they were going to target, along with some other people at eBay, a couple in Massachusetts. Oh, well, I'm reading this.
Yeah, no. Go ahead and talk. I just didn't want to lose his comment, so you can
Okay.
address his comment when you finish your thought because I
Okay.
want to hear about this
So
eBay
fast
situation.
forward. But anyway, so it finally goes before a judge. They actually have a bona fide FBI agent testify on behalf of the couple. His testimony was phenomenal. I would love to get a guy like that testify on my behalf, right?
Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal. But the judge, this is what the judge said. the judge said the details of this case are so bizarre. I didn't even think that I could read it like in a novel. That the details were so bizarre, they were unbelievable.
And
Because
what was happening to this couple? What exactly was happening to
they
them?
were sending them these coppers, these retired cops working at eBay in the security department were sending dead animals, death threats in the mail, hiring other people. They were relentless on discrediting them, taking down their company, getting people to not purchase from them anymore. I mean, if you want a copy of the lawsuit, I can email it to you if you want to read through it. It really is, you need to read it.
Interesting.
But the judge, the judge gives a commentary, and that was the takeaway, was that she said the details of this case were so bizarre that she didn't even think she could read about it like in a novel. And this couple was literally tormented, just the way we are.
Mm-hmm.
But they wanted settlement, and it was GAT. Which is usually the case.
Yes, that's true, unfortunately. Okay, are you able to see the comment, Truth's comment?
I want to address something that just came up. Robert Mann, you know all these illegals that are coming through the border?
Mm-hmm.
The way that they're not documenting them and having them throw away their original documentation to show where they came from, they're giving them cell phones and a place to stay and a $3,000 gift card. I think that this is going to be our new group of gang stalkers.
Yeah. They give them everything they need. And you know what? I'm probably one of the most compassionate people you will ever meet. But I say we need to close the borders and put the biggest wall, the biggest chains, the biggest everything. Look at the state of America. And we're just opening the doors and telling everybody come in and get everything and anything you want. I'm not for it. I'm not for it. I'm sorry that they're dealing with the cartel situation. I'm sorry, that they're having difficulties over there, but we are too. I wish you could see what Oakland, California looks like with the homelessness everywhere.
Yes.
So why are we not taking care of our own people, but we're taking care of others? I don't get it. And we're sending all our money over to these wars, and it's yeah. I'm not for it. I'm not for it. They give them everything they want.
Yes.
Everything. They set them up really good. In the meantime, we have senior citizens over here that can barely feed themselves. They can barely afford to purchase their medication. It's something needs to be done, really.
Yes. And also, not to say that our health care here is phenomenal. I mean, I guess it is compared to other countries. But some of the people that are coming from other countries have disease. They're not being tested. We don't know what they have. We don't know if they've got a communicable disease. So here we are, with the CV, the 19, having to wear masks and everything, 6 feet apart and everything, but they're letting these people come in. We don't know if they're bringing disease. They could be bringing parasites with them. They could be bringing anything with them because other countries may not be as clean.
Mm-hmm.
They may not have the same health care, requirements that we have. It's so alarming that they could not only be bringing, I can't say the word, a crime in the country, which they will do, but they can be spreading all kinds of disease and illness.
Not only the health aspect. Let me see if I can find this article real quick. Not only the health aspect of things, but if and when there's ever an invasion over here, as far as war type things over here, they're already set up. They're already set up over here.
Yes.
Already set up.
Yes. Yeah, some people were saying, like I was in a chat recently that some people were saying that they're going to recruit all these young men that are into the military here. Now,
Yep.
I see a big problem with that because one, they don't know our customs, the values, and many of them do not speak English well. So how are you going to take commands if you don't understand the English language well?
Oh, where's that article? That is true. It's a bad situation over here, if you ask me.
Yes, it's actually, I think that that's the biggest threat. My father, like years ago, like when I was, a teenager, he would talk about closing the borders. Um, but anyway, there's a question
Yes, they
here.
definitely need to be closed.
It's a good question. Do I think that this program will stop in 10, 20 years, or if these global atrocities will continue for another 50 years? Well, that's a really good question. I would like to be optimistic and think that it's going to end. In the past, um, the former President Clinton gave apology to the country about the illegal experimentation that took place. I haven't seen anybody else provide that kind of apology since he did. And all of us are being illegally experimented on. Oh, hi, Paul. I see Paul in the chat there. Um, yes. Oh, yeah. He's mentioning the episode of the A&E neighborhood wars. I would like to be optimistic and think that it will stop, that it will be exposed to the point where they will have nothing else to do but end it. But the problem is this, and it's the same problem with the lawsuit. I'm not going to mention the name of the group that has that lawsuit, that big lawsuit that everybody is rallying behind. Okay, so let's say the watch list as we know it today gets shut down. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now they've collected all this data. Fusion centers, the 80 fusion centers across the United States, they've collected all this data. They've been collecting it for decades, even before what we feel has become the targeted program. So there's all that information out there, and even if the watch list were to get shut down, it's so profitable, and the people in charge are psychopaths, narcissists. They're so deranged. They're so addicted to the money. They're so addicted to us that they'll have a way of doing it surreptitiously. We're also on the black market. They're selling us on the black market. How do we shut that down? So if the watch list gets shut down, all names get exposed. Let's say this happens tomorrow. Hallelujah. All of your names, my name, we've already been sold to somebody else.
Yeah.
So shut down the FBI.
They'll never
watch
own
list.
me, though. Right. They'll never own me. I just want to say that.
Well, the private contractors are out there. They're not subject to FOIA requests. So the names are already out there. So so this is the FBI here, and then you've got the octopus, the limbs that are coming out. So you've got, Infraguard, you've got the private contractors, you've got the community watch, you've got, all the cops, all the sheriff's departments around the country. You think they're going to want to give up their little side hustle? It's too much fun.
Right. This is what I wanted to share with you guys. It says foreign developers, including Chinese, Russian, Iranian, and Venezuelans, now own at least 40 million acres of U.S. land. 40
Yes,
million
yes.
acres.
That's a huge problem.
40 million acres. The
How did we
terrorists
allow
are
that?
already set up over here. They're here. They own
How
the
did
land. They own the
that's right.
land in America.
But why and how did we allow that?
That's
And then
crazy.
they're stealing land and shutting down farms like that Amish farmer Amos
Yes.
Miller.
Hmm.
That's an atrocity.
And they
These are
said
people.
most of what they own is near farms and military bases. And it says the government admits it does not know the grab. They own the land. The other countries, own America. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry. That just, when I saw that, I could not believe that.
It's a very sad state of affairs, and honestly, until the last few years, I never voted. I'm not political. I didn't watch the news. I don't have a TV. I don't care about this stuff. But as a targeted person, I've learned about it, and I'm so appalled
Yes, it is
by
very appalling.
the country, and the fact that our country points fingers at every other country. We have torture going on in this country. I watched a
Mhm.
video before we got on here about a prison. It was on the YouTube channel Delete Laws, LAWZ. I watch a lot of corrupt cop videos, guys.
Mhm.
This was a video camera inside a prison where they had detained a woman and they starved her to death, literally starved her to death.
Wow.
You could see her writhing on the floor. You could see her bones sticking out. And of course, the sheriff's department wrote off that, oh, no, we discharged her after she was in the hospital and died there. Fast forward, the family sued and won the biggest settlement, like in the history of whatever. But who's
Wow.
paying the settlement?
Yeah. And she shouldn't have had to die like that. That's just
It was,
terrible.
I'm telling you, it was so heart wrenching to
Very
see.
inhumane.
It was making me very angry. Like, watching these videos, you become educated about what's going on out there, what's going on in the prison systems. But we know as targeted people happens. They want to
Mhm.
send me to the emergency room to get blood tested because I file a police report. And then this woman,
Yeah, that's
and at the time, she was a newly hired person. She had no license. We looked her up. She had no
wow.
license. Actually, at the time that this happened, I had more psychology experience and education than she did. And then I also found out
Wow.
that she's dating her underage daughter on Facebook in a bikini. Okay, I would never do that. And you're a mental health worker parading your underage daughter on Facebook without privacy
That's
settings in a bikini.
terrible.
I mean, there are predators out there.
That is terrible.
Yeah, so yes, this is
Exactly. Okay, let's read some comments. Missy says, been targeted probably since birth. Sorry to hear that, Missy. Have been hospitalized medically multiple times in my life due to targeting. Medical system is highly complicit. Oh, yes, they are. I found that out with my sister who's been in and out of the hospitals recently. They really, really, really are complicit in this crime. Carol, thank you for your comment, Missy. Carol says it's going to take divine intervention. And that's exactly what's going to happen. The Lord is going to intervene. And that's how all of this is going to get exposed. And that's how it's going to end. Thank you for your comment, Carol. And thank you, Truth, for your comment as well, for your 2 comments. Missy says, but what about when they nearly kill you with a text every time I try research or reach out online? Well, that's to discourage you from trying to
Yes.
get answers, and trying to seek solutions or trying to discourage you. And that's why they torture you when you do it. But, I mean, you take as much as you can, because I don't want to tell anybody to, bring torture upon themselves. Which you're not. That was not the way I should have said that, because you're not bringing it on yourself. But I don't want to encourage you to put yourself in harm's way, I guess I should say. But if it were me, and when it is me, because these type of things happen to me as well, I still don't stop. I still don't stop. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
So you're
I,
saying
I
every time you research or reach out online that your torture gets worse. I'm sorry that happens. Go ahead, Lorraine.
I wanted to say that there were many years before I realized that I was targeted and that I was in a program that I didn't complain. I didn't know who to complain to other than file a
Yeah,
police report.
right,
I didn't speak out. I didn't talk to people about it except my close my my mom, close family members and stuff. So the fact that at all those years I did nothing and it still persisted, it just tells me that I always need to speak out because I think it
mm,
is in some ways it's protective. I mean,
right,
here we are speaking like intelligent people talking about what is happening to us, and do they want to go and discredit us? I literally have a lunatics targeting me here in Kentucky. They scream out their windows. I mean, they're like emotionally bereft teenagers, um, harassing workers on my property, telling them that I don't pay people, um, telling them to not work here, asking them to damage my property. I know exactly who they are and what they're doing, and they're probably getting paid to do it, but it's absolutely disgusting.
yes. Truth says people have no idea that they are using holograms and cloaking technology. This has been in play for at least 50 years.
Thank you. Thank you, Truth Serum, because they are using, yes, they are absolutely using cloaking, invisibility devices here in rural Kentucky. I've witnessed it. My cameras, the infrared cameras, can pick up a halo around the person. They make noise when they walk. They knock things over. I had somebody in my house, in this small house, in the back of my house, and I was in my kitchen, which is behind me.
Mhm.
They ran through my hallway, knocked stuff down, and out my front door. I didn't see them,
Oh, wow.
but my animals see them. Like I have I call them my little yappers. They're called guinea fowl, and they're like watchbirds. They love to eat ticks and stuff, but they alert me when there's a stranger on the property, and
Oh,
they usually they're surrounding something that I can't see, but they see it. They know
mhm.
that something's here and alert me. Oh well, thank you, Paul. I mean, I
Wow.
see. Yes, so
Paul
they
says
are.
I saw the episode on Neighborhood Wars. And you guys, there's a show that comes. Is it A&E? I think it's A&E. If you're not familiar with it, it's called Neighborhood Wars. And I am telling you, it caught my attention. It's a reality show that shows disputes between neighbors, and a lot of times the police get involved and things like that. But I just happened to watch it one day, and it caught my attention because I noticed a lot of perp activity. I'm like, we
Yes,
targeted people can learn a lot from watching that show. I watched one, and I didn't see your episode, but I'm going to look for it. But I watched one where this lady would open her door and there'd be trash in front of her door, just everywhere in front of her door. So she caught it on the camera that it was like the person down the hall bringing out the trash from her house and just sitting it in front of the lady's door. And I
yes,
was like, if that's not some perp stuff. And so finally she, approached the lady and was like, I saw this on the camera. Why do you keep putting your trash in front of my door instead of taking it down to the dumpster? And of course, it
yes.
turned into this big thing. But there's so many perps on that show. So many.
Absolutely. And you know what? Being a targeted person, we recognize that when we watch those shows. And that's another reason why I like to watch some of these
Thank you,
cop
Paul.
videos, because you can tell when somebody's being targeted. Like there's this poor woman who I know she was targeted. You probably heard about her. She was at a beach and she was doing something. They embarrassed her, and she ended up, they're saying she committed suicide, but it wasn't suicide. Somebody killed her. There was
Oh.
blood splattered all over the place in her apartment. She was not suicidal, whatever, but
Yeah, I can't watch those kind of shows. Those are hard for me to watch.
it's too
Wow.
difficult. But it was sort of like a well-known thing across the internet. It became like an internet sensation that this
Yeah.
young woman was on the beach, and the police targeted her there. Missy
Missy, I
says,
think we got to your comment. You said, can't you at least comment to me so that I know? Okay, so we're conversating and doing the comments at the same time. So I apologize if it's taking a while, but I think we got to you. They are after our louche, is what Teresa says. I'm not sure what louche is. Thank you,
"Oh,
Teresa.
yes, they are after that. They are into the adrenaline,
What is
and
louche? What is louche? Please explain. I don't know what that is.
it's okay. They're witches. Okay, these are Satanists. These are
Mhm,
Luciferian Satanists. It's
mhm.
our joy. It's our energy. It's our
Yeah.
adrenaline.
Okay.
Okay, and they also feed off of our misery. They
Mhm.
want to see us miserable. They want to change us. I mean, I have, you can't see it, it's too dark in here, whatever, but it's only since I'm living in Kentucky. They have been hitting me in my head so much that I actually have a vein that popped out on my temple, on the side of my head, like right here.
Thank you, Teresa.
A vein
Oh.
from
Mhm.
them so much. I didn't have that before I moved here. They've
I'm
been targeting
sorry.
my
Yeah, that's
ankles.
terrible.
Yes.
Um, the Mexicans were sent here to gang stalk. They're here for something. I mean, I would not be surprised. I mean, because they're getting all these free services when they come here. And I'm not going to call them all Mexicans because maybe, I think they go by Hispanic. I'm not sure how they like to be referred, but um, they
They're
cross
giving them
the
cell
border.
phones.
They're getting every single thing that we don't get for free.
Yes.
So I'm pretty sure they're making them work for it some kind of way. So I would not be surprised if a lot of them are involved in targeting. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yes, yes. They like Missy said, they just thrive on our distress.
Yes. Kiska says that she, I think it's a female, she or he, have heard about your Freya's cat rescue.
Yes, well, yeah, Freya's Cat Rescue, we've been around since 2013. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. Started in New Jersey, moved our rescue cats here to Kentucky. And we did fundraising in New Jersey. We had kittens, for adoption. And basically, what I did was I rescued feral cats. I cared for a feral cat colony of about 35 cats. People were dumping cats there all the time. I had up to 50 cats out there. Most of them were not mine, but people kept dumping animals and they would breed and stuff. But I ended up taking those feral cats and socializing them in my home. And then that sergeant, Carrie, had the audacity when I was in the hospital for those 6 hours to follow a little complaint in there, a little notation on my incident, on my report, my take-in report. Oh, she has 30 cats, but her house is clean. Yeah. He had to say she has 30 cats, but he didn't say her house is listed for sale, so she's rescuing her cat colony because she doesn't want to leave her feral cats behind. She's taking them all in her house, socializing them so she could bring them to the new state. He has the audacity to slander me in a medical report. She's got 30 cats, but her house is clean. How do you know I have 30 cats? Did
Wow.
anybody ever tell you I had? Did you count my cats?
Right.
They just make up a number and have the audacity on a report to say that. And yes, that was Sergeant Carey. And what he did is he called them to leave that message for my report, and he only gave his badge number. He would not give his name.
Yeah, they don't like to give their name. And if they do give their name, they'll give their first name, but they don't want to give their last name.
Okay, I looked up his badge number because he's part of the hockey club with Sergeant Carey, the one who had his hand on his holster the whole time, pacing back and forth on my driveway in Manalapan, New Jersey, 52 Sutton Drive.
Wow. Truth, you said we skipped your question. I know that I read 3 of your questions. I hope I got them all. You can type it in if I missed it. It's not intentional. Let's see. Truth says 2020 Agenda 2030, guys. Hello.
Yes.
Yes. Carol says it is called the Cloward Piven strategy. Collapse the economy with punch-checked immigration. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so they're talking about the episode that you were on.
Yeah, Teresa says something about keeping.
Did that episode have a title? Oh, okay.
Let me see. It did have a title. Okay. They gave it some weird name that had nothing to do with what was happening, but I have the link, but I can't join the chat here. I can't place it in the chat. What I'll do is I'll send you the link.
You can send me, send me the link, and then I'll post it on the video once I post the video.
Yes, I wonder, can I send you anything here? Like,
I think you can. You can try.
Let me see.
Okay, let's see.
There's one thing that says present. Let me see what this says. Oh, I can share a video file. One second. Let me get it. 1 second.
Carol says I'm a survivor of MK Ultra and made a document and wrote a book. Okay, put the information for your book in the chat so we can support your book. Good for you. I want to write a book one day.
I wanted to write a book.
Yeah, I think we all definitely have a book in us. That's for sure.
We all have a book in us. Okay, I've got a link here. Now I've got a link. So I can click on present. I have a video file. Let's see if this will come up.
That'd be great if it does.
Yeah. Oh, it's asking me to. It's not allowing me to add a link. It's just asking me to add an attachment.
Email the link to me and I'll see if I can show it.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever tried to show a video, or maybe I have. I don't know. Do you have it on YouTube? Because you can probably.
I'm looking in my folder here to see if. See.
I'm gonna read comments while you do that.
Okay, yes.
Teresa says Janet Oseberg, who made Fall of Cabal documentary, found dead supposedly from suicide. Oh my goodness. Yeah, they always use that suicide excuse.
I'll have to email that to you.
Okay. And then I'll go to my email and see if I can pull it up.
find a good video to give you.
Well, we would like to see the neighborhood wars. We'd like to see
Yeah,
that one.
I will send you. I will send you the link to that.
Okay.
I'll also send you the video. Anybody can search my channel. If you could type in Tina Booth broke into my house, you'll find the Manalapan police on my driveway. Proof that
Terrible.
they were
Oh, yeah.
there. Yes.
Missy says it was not until I got my first computer in 2001 that I learned about what had been happening to me all my life.
Wow.
I tell you, it when you discover what this is, it really there's a certain kind of freedom that happens, although we're still being targeted, but it just explains so much. Like you said, you realize it was happening all or most of your life. Same with me. Carol says Project Bluebeam holograms. Impale the Monarch says in 2017, a PDF on a Senate hearing called 95 MK Ultra over who ran one program made to cover for what they do. D, smuggling, J1 work and school visa scam, G for gang stalking, or well, G for stalking, first over trafficking, and R reportings. Thank you for that. Truth says most of what we've learned is a lie. That is the
That's
truth.
so true. That is
Yep.
so true.
It's all lies. All lies. Very sad. Missy says it's an energy that we all have, and what they thrive on is our distress. It's true. It's very true.
Because I think there's a targeted person that wrote a book called The Joy Thieves.
Ah.
They like to steal your joy. Whatever makes you happy, whatever you love to do, they'll try to sabotage it. So,
anything and everyone you love, they want to destroy that.
Yes.
Okay, so Teresa agrees with Misty, and she says, yes, Missy, correct. Positive thoughts and vibes is our best defense. I read something the other day that said that music and singing, not only listening to music, but singing the music actually helps a lot. And I believe that too, because I used to sing a lot. Just, so any opportunity you have to turn on music and sing and dance and just enjoy life. It's not what they want you to be doing. So that's what you should be doing.
And I've got one criminal revving up the engine right down the block on the county road, right here in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, wow. Teresa says love is the most powerful energy we have going. That is true. And God is love. God is love. So. Okay, you guys, I'm at the end of the comments. I hope I didn't miss any. If I did, type them in and I'll see it.
I wanted to mention something.
Okay, we can end here unless you have anything else. Go ahead.
Well, I wanted to mention something about the poisons. What people need to look for is they like to go into your sugar and salt, and they put some kind of a liquid, just a little bit, and you'll know when you go into your sugar or salt and you see little balls. Normally it's very smooth, but you'll see little tiny clumps. You just remove that. They also like to use a white powder and very thick dust, very like pithy, thick dust. And I have under a magnifying glass with a black light found the smart dust. It's all over my house. They spray it everywhere. It's all colors. And I'm breathing that in. So, I mean, the best thing to do is to, this, any kind of health issues that we have are a direct result of what they're doing to us. Nothing that's happening to us is occurring naturally. It's all deliberate.
That's true. Yeah.
So, I mean, since
Missy says,
I've
sorry, go ahead. And Truth is asking for the link. I don't know if she's able to post the link.
I can't post anything in the chat here. I have to sign up for free. I can't post anything. I've tried. I will send you the link, and you can, like, when you post this, you can post the link.
That's what I'll do. So come back to the video later, Truth, when I have a chance to post it. It should be up no later than tomorrow.
Email
And
now.
look in the description, and it'll be there.
Yeah.
Missy says music, absolutely. Music and nature are just about the only joys in today's life. I love nature, particularly water. I love being around the ocean, a lake, a river, something, and music. I love music as well. And it really does help. It really does.
Okay, I'm sending you just a blank email, and at the bottom, it has the Neighborhood Wars link.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Okay, Truth is saying he'll speak with us. There's the link, Truth. You can click on it if you want to come in. We're going to end in a few minutes, so come on in. Anybody who wants to click on that link, you'll have the option of showing your face or not. You do not have to show your face. Click on the link. Anybody who wants to click on that link, come in and comment, ask a question, give a comment, share a story. There's the link.
You also asked me what are some of the things that I do to combat what's happening to me. So I wrote a little bit.
Before you answer that, let me just pose the question the way that you and I had talked about it. And what I had asked you was if you could share, coming from a therapist's point of view, if you could share how we can deal with recurring traumas, because that's what's unique about our community, in my opinion, is that, yes, a lot of people in this world have been traumatized by life experiences. But for us to target an individual, our traumas are recurring. Our PTSD is recurring. This stuff is never ending. So if you can share anything that you think will help us to get through this type of experience, and you're targeted yourself. So go ahead.
I'm targeting myself, and I have some really bad days. But I do listen to music. I watch funny animal videos. Anything that's humorous. I like to, I'll go into TikTok where, I'll just scroll through some hilarious videos and stuff. I'm very busy about animals. So animals make me laugh. They keep me busy. They keep me working. They give me a purpose, right? They want to steal the things that we enjoy doing. Another thing is for people who have more time or space, obviously it's exercise or yoga, meditation, music. The music is really more important to me. I love to listen to the music. I like to listen to meditation. There's one guy on YouTube, Jake Ducey, who has positive affirmations and stuff like that. I'll listen to him. I watch cooking channels. I like to cook. What are some of the? Oh yes, I will. Like when I call them criminals. Okay, I don't call them gang stalkers or whatever I do on my channel and stuff. But basically, I call them all criminals. So that's what they are. They're criminals. So I make fun of the criminals. I speak out loud to the criminals, and I'll say, karma's coming for you. Every time they steal something from me, I create a video. It's about exposing them. Whether it's by name, whether it's by photo, whether it's by deed. And maybe people say, oh, well, you should be giving them the credit for it. I'm not giving them credit. I'm exposing what's happening to me. Because I'm not going to report all of these little things.
One second, Truth, please.
yeah, to the person. But for the targeted community, it's also validating. I can't tell you how many people who have seen some of my videos who said that has happened to me too, and I didn't know
Right.
what it was. So unless you're sharing your evidence, it's not helping a lot of people. Yeah, we can talk about it. We can talk about the one headlight. We can talk, but if you're showing how they rot your food,
Right.
and it's consistent, I've been showing how they rot my food over years, and
Mhm.
finally people are saying that happens to my food too. I've been showing what they do
Right.
to my
Okay, let me
yes.
okay, 1 second. Let me say one thing. We have Truth here on the video with us. So 1 second, Truth. But I just want to say to Luke, I think I saw you come in on the video, but I was trying to let you in, and it said there was a problem with your computer. So please try to come back. Okay, I don't want you to think I just wasn't letting you in. It was some kind of malfunction going on. So please try it again.
Can
That's
I
for
just go
Luke.
to the
Or
restroom?
who?
I'm going to go to the
Or
restroom for a minute.
Okay, sure. Anyone else that wants to come in, come on in. Okay, the link is there. Truth, how are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm fine, Renata. Thanks for having me on. It's been a long time, huh?
I know, it's so good to hear from you. I'm glad you're doing well.
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. You know, under the circumstances. I'm doing
Right.
fine.
That's what I like about you. You're going to thrive anyway. They're not going
Uh,
to hold you down. That's great.
yeah, we got to keep pushing. We have to. And I like, what's the lady's name that you have on your show?
Lorraine?
Oh, Lorraine. How you doing this evening?
Yeah, she just stepped away for the restroom. She'll be right back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she brought
Yeah.
up some, she's bringing up some good points and stuff and about being a little more proactive and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. You know, because
Mm-hmm.
that's something I get kind of frustrated with, especially like with you know, being online on Facebook or whatever it may be. You know, people are kind of recycling the same torture that they're going through every day and just
Yeah.
talking about that all the time instead. Not that, you know, trying to minimize anybody's, you know, situation, but you know, it's good to try to come up with solutions. And this is what I've been preaching for a long time. And this is this. I have a hard time understanding why it's so difficult with the amount of TIs that we have out there that we can't have small groups of people that, being that one of our biggest issues is being isolated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I'm married. Yeah. But most of my friends kind of blew in the wind, you know, so, you know, but I am married. But the thing is that I think one of the biggest issues is us being isolated for people that aren't married, that don't have someone around them or, you know, things like that. And I'm like, that having a couple friends that happen to be TIs would be such a great thing because it can cut down on our targeting, because a lot of the targeting that they use against us requires us to be alone.
Right.
Now, when it comes to direct energy weapons, dudes and whatnot, well, you know, that's a whole nother story. But as far as like neighbors acting, doing stupid stuff to us, you
Mm-hmm.
know, walking in and out, exit and enter tactics, and following us around and not talking to us or looking at us like they smell shit or something. You know what I mean? If we had friends around us and we're out in the front yard talking, or you have another TI friend you walk around the corner with, get a little exercise with, people see that you socialize and you have people to talk to, and it kind of gives you, it kind of normalizes the situation that we're going through. So that's just one of the things, and I wanted to mention that so Lorraine could possibly comment on it. But I wonder, like, is it the amount of billions of dollars that they're using to make sure they keep us separate from each other?
Yes, I actually have a targeted female friend here in Kentucky. I mean, they seem to be very strategic about where the targets live in
Mm-hmm.
relationship to each other. There seems to be a certain distance away. In New Jersey, and I still am friends with this targeted woman. She was about 45 minutes away from me in New Jersey. There are actually targeted people in New Jersey. I don't know how many here in Kentucky. I know of at least about six. They're all female. Um, and To answer your question about getting groups of targeted people together, a part of the reason is we all live far away from each other. Like Renata is 3 hours, in California. I'm here in Kentucky. Even when I was in New Jersey, actually, when I was in New Jersey, it was easier for me to get together with people because there were so many targets in New Jersey and New York. And I was just coming to learn that as I was exiting New Jersey. But I'm still in contact with and actually recently spoke with that targeted woman. And she and I would meet for lunch and we would talk about this. And we still talk about the things that we're doing. And I'm still going to keep filing complaints. I don't care.
Right.
And, I filed a complaint with the Attorney Criminal Division here in Kentucky. I've taken my neighbors to court. It was like a kangaroo court. It's absolutely absurd. That's why I decided to go to neighborhood wars. You know what? I wanted to expose if the judge is involved, if the sheriff's department is involved, and they don't want to prosecute people that tear down my gate, trespass my property, vandalize my property, then I have to expose it somehow.
And let me just chime in there, if I can, to what Truth was saying. It would be nice for groups of TIs in the same area to get together, or I will say even online, it would be nice. Carol in the chat says we all have trust issues, and rightfully so. And that is a very good point.
That's true.
Out. And then Missy agrees with her, and she says, yes, how could we not have trust issues, especially in the past several years? And I think that is one of the main factors that keep TIs separate. I know that there are some local TIs here. There's quite a few TIs here in the Bay Area. And I used to do things with them. We would do different activism efforts together. We go to City Hall. We went to a presidential breakfast one time. Like, we would do things together. But what happens is it gets infiltrated. Every group gets infiltrated. If you have ever gone to the conference calls, you will see the infiltration. If you have
definitely
any kind of awakening in your body, you will come to know that this community is heavily infiltrated. And that's
a lot of
TIs try to get together as well. Go ahead, Truth.
I was going to say, I totally agree. I said, I remember I used to talk to you about when I was working with Nina and some people when I was out in Long Beach, California. We put a rally together on that August 29th thing, 2019. And so it was cool because, we had like about 10 of us, a dozen of us. And a lot of us kept in touch when I was out there in Long Beach and stuff. And we would do that. We'd go to the park and have lunch, a little sit downs or whatever it is. But just over time, people started, like somebody would call me and say, what about that her? I don't really like her that much. I don't know. Something's about her. And then another guy would be like, hey, Stan, I don't know, man. That guy over there, I don't know, dude. I don't know. And I'm like, and you can't be angry because I understand, because I'm going through it. And the trust issue is the big factor because we're being deceived.
It really is. I invited several of them to my house. I cooked for several of them. One of them stole from me. And I almost 100% knew that she had stole money from me. And then it was confirmed when she called me and said, please don't tell anybody that she stole from me. So you just can't,
you have to treat targets like just a human being, because human beings are faulty. Say before we knew we were targeted, before we would bring someone in our home, we'd like to get them know them first.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or whatever. So it's not like, oh, you're a TI? Cool. You could stay in my extra room. No problem. No, it just doesn't work that way. You get a bad result. It's not just because of targeting, but these are human beings, people that we have to get to know, build a rapport with, and you just can't trust anybody regardless.
Yeah. It's true. It's very unfortunate, because it would be great. Like I can envision a world where TIs live in the same area, like a bunch of TIs. And there
Right.
are a lot of single mother TIs that have small children. We could babysit for each other. We could go to the store for each other. If one is sick, we can help. We can do activism. Like it would be great. It would be wonderful. But trust and believe there will be perps in that crowd. And that's the problem. That's the problem.
Yeah. Because online, it's like I say this online, a lot of people tend to agree with me, but I say if you go on Facebook, 80% of the TIs or so-called TIs on Facebook are fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've been a stickler for, I guess maybe because I'm in my 50s, but it's like, I'm like, texting is cool, if you want to be friends on Facebook, but let me speak with you first. Like, can we speak a little bit? I mean, if you're targeted, let's speak. And then you just have some people that just will never talk. People online just text. You see a avatar, and in your brain, that avatar is them, but you don't know who they are.
That's true.
Exactly.
That's true. And just like they're saying in the chat that TIs don't trust. So on the flip side of that, of there being a lot of perps, there are a lot of TIs that will accuse you of being a perp when you're a genuine TI. I get it all the time. You're a perp. You're a perp. I'm like, okay, all right.
All the time.
I get it all the time where people accuse me of being a perp. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. I don't really care. But it's a hard community to deal with. It really, really is. So this seems to be my safe haven for me. Of all the things I've done the talk show calls, I've done rallies, I've done it all. I've done a lot of the activism stuff. And this is what I'm most comfortable with, just sitting behind the computer doing my videos, because I mean, I had a whole thing where TIs, I would call it TIs helping TIs, and I would collect money for TIs who needed money for, I don't know. We help people buy tires for their cars because they lived in their cars. We help people with rent money to pay their telephone bill, whatever it was. And none of the money ever came through me. I would have the person to set up a GoFundMe, and I would just ask people for donations and would send it directly to the person. Even that got infiltrated. Like every single thing gets infiltrated, and it just got to be too much and draining and not worth it at some point,
And that's what they do with us gathering. Even at the beginning of this, I guarantee that there are people listening now that that may or may not be perps. I actually announced it on the last video I posted. If somebody listens to the end, that you would be holding this live. So that's why I see one of my subscribers in there. But
that's good.
They infiltrate your comment section, your videos. I mean, I shouldn't say it, but I have had a cyber stalker for a year. I mean, everybody knows who he is. I just call him the Gorilla Boy. Yeah, for a whole year, the torment, harassment. He found my phone number, calling me, text messages, emails. I mean, it was just not incessant, nonstop. Until I filed a formal complaint.
I think I know who you're talking about. I blocked him.
Yeah. Well, but he's got so many alter egos. I'll say.
Yeah, he does. Missy in the comments says, I have been perked by supposed targets 2 different times. Yeah, very, very unfortunate.
Somebody wrote his name in the comments section. I won't repeat it.
And then Missy says that the same type of thing happens in the UFO community. Carol says, I was kidnapped by police involved human trafficking ring. They were finally busted in 2008. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Was that here in California? I think I heard about something here. I'm so sorry that happened to you, Carol, and I'm glad that you survived that and was able to get out of that situation. Very sorry. Oh my goodness. That is horrible. Missy says it's a perfect catch-22. Robert says they don't want us outside jogging. Let's see. They don't want us outside jogging and getting exercise. That'll keep us sick with, I don't even want to say that, because if you say that, they'll take the whole video down. And diabetes. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, when you get out to exercise, I used to walk the dog all the time. But he can't really do the walks anymore because he's up in age. But yes, they would let dogs loose on us. It was so much harassment up there, but I kept doing it anyway. And it's not only if you go out jogging or exercising, it's if you go out, period, to do anything, especially if you do it on a regular basis. Yeah.
Yes.
Missy says it's diabolical. Carol says, "Oh, Renata, the Trojan horse came to your house." I really thought I knew these TIs because believe me, I don't invite people to my house. I do not. And my husband really is against it. But I had, done a lot of things with these people over the years, not just once or twice, like over the years. So I was very disappointed when that person stole from me. Lesson learned.
Is your husband targeted too? Do they target your husband?
He is. And just when I think he's starting to understand this program, I think I'm the main target. But just when I think he's starting to understand the program, he'll say things to make me realize he really doesn't understand. For instance, things happen to him at work, and I'm like, that. They sent those people to do that. Those, like, he sometimes he doesn't catch it that this is targeted. Even though these same situations, they like to do like confrontations with him, and it's in the workplace because he works with the public. So you can't engage in that kind of stuff when you're at work.
Right.
But he doesn't seem to make the connection that this is a pattern. This is targeting.
Yes.
And also I try to explain to him, he thinks, now this is going to sound funny to some people, he thinks that I just don't want him to have his favorite cookies. So when I'm at the store, he'll give me those cookies, and I keep telling him they don't have them. You don't have them. So he's like, okay, you just don't want me to. No, it's not that. I tried to explain to him, and you guys let me know if this happens to you. They will physically remove or stop selling like your favorite thing.
Yes, they do.
I'm serious.
They do.
You know what? That's funny, but it's true. And I'm gonna tell you something. That's why sometimes when you walk around and you can go through a grocery market, some people give you that dumbified look that work there.
Yeah.
Just like, because it's so compartmentalized. They have no idea why somebody asked them to remove something off the shelf because they knew you were going there to get it.
That's true. I am telling you, I keep trying to tell him. So he found his favorite cookies at another store. So he came in, he was huffy one day. He was like, since you don't want to get these cookies for me, I found them at this other store. So I'm like, okay, well, that's good. So he started going to get them at the other store. 4 weeks later, they don't sell them there. I keep trying to tell you. I keep trying to tell you, like, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be mean, even though I tell them you need to stop eating all those cookies. But they really do that. They do it to me too. They do it to me too. They also block, like I had said, okay, I'm going to get some garbage bags. I get there, they have this big crane blocking all the garbage bags. Like, they do all this stupid stuff. They really do.
They do.
It's truly a simulation of sorts, really. It really is.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it is. When you can manipulate the surroundings of people, you can manipulate the actions of people. And you have somebody driving this way, going that way, doing this, doing that, going through the store, doing this and doing that. That's a simulation. It's not real, but it's happening in real time.
That is true. So to answer your question, yes, he is targeted, and that was just a small example. He's actually targeted pretty hard. Missy says, I don't even own a cell phone. Freedom Voice Online says, I agree with this man. So Freedom agrees with you, Truth.
Hi, Freedom Voice.
Freedom. I like that. I like that name. Missy says it's a perfect crime. Missy says, has any targets here ever tried to participate in Next Door? I did for like a week. I didn't really care for it.
I'm on Next Door.
What is
I'm
it?
on Next Door with.
What
Yeah,
is it?
It's an app. It's an app for neighbors. It's
Oh,
the way the perps communicate. They communicate with each other through that app, but they will
right.
never let you into their group because once you're in the app, it goes by your zip code and it'll let you
Right.
know crimes happening, anything happening in your area. So it's kind of good in that sense.
Yeah, I got something like from the HOA thing.
Yeah, it's similar like that.
It
But
shows
inside the app, you
it's
can
kind of,
create groups, and so the perps have their own groups in those apps.
yeah, I can imagine.
Listen to the conversation of what's going on, rather participate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the
That's
Next
true.
Door app.
Hmm.
Oh, they have a voice. They have like you can hear like they talk on there.
No,
or-
oh no. I mean, participate in a chat kind of thing where people post information and people respond, like they'll heart it, give it a heart, or write a response, respond to something that you've written. I
Oh,
usually only respond to people that have lost pets. I'll give them advice on how to find their lost pet.
oh, okay.
Hey
Teresa,
Renata, so. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, read it. Go ahead and read it.
no, go ahead. Go ahead, Truth. I'll read it after you.
I was gonna say, what's it's pretty interesting too is that I noticed how my targeting kind of if you want to say fluctuates or
Mhm.
how random it is because it is random. Period. But the I know like if I'm in the house talking to my wife and I'm like, oh, hey, we got to pick up some bread today and some orange juice and some milk. Yeah, I'm gonna go over to Walmart and then she says, yeah, put some gas to the truck. And I'll be like, oh yeah, okay, I'll stop at the gas station. When I do
Mhm.
stuff like that, I can tell how much the targeting is they're right on me all the time and they're right there, like they already know what's gonna happen, compared to if I'm in the house alone, right? And
Mhm.
just in my talking to myself, like, man, I'm gonna go to Ross and go pick up a $10 t-shirt. And I'll probably stop at the GNC and grab some vitamins. But I don't talk about it, but I just go do it. They have to follow me. And I know
Yes.
with the supercomputer and everything, it has that predictability because they know where we go and what's the probability of us going there or whatever. But when I take a drive and just go to a next city
Mhm.
to go to Walmart, it's all clear. And just you have to give it like 15 minutes to here they come. But it's all clear and nice and normal, just for a fleeting minute or two.
Right.
It's
In
kind
other
of fun.
words, you're comparing for when you actually speak out loud for what
Mhm.
you're going to do to when you just randomly do something. When you do
Yeah,
it just
or when you
random,
Google it.
you get a little relief. You get a little relief for a little while when you just do it random.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've noticed that. I mean, not that big a difference, but it's just something I noticed.
But when you say it out loud, they can hear through your cell phone. We have speakers
That's
right
right.
on our cell phone, and I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
they have listening devices in our homes as
Oh,
well.
of course. Yeah, because I mean, look at when the exit and enter tactic. That's the ultimate proof that they're watching us.
Right.
Because I could be in my house by myself, just get up, take a quick shower, throw some sweats on, because I'm gonna go buy some chocolate or go buy something to eat. Not sure what I want to eat, but I guarantee you, when I walk out that door, somebody's walking out their door.
Oh
Or
yeah.
that old lady down the street that walks her dog with the big red shawl on. I see her 5 days a week across from my door when I open the door to leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, she's like standing there. Sometimes I watch her because I have cameras on the house. And I watch her and she stops when she knows like I didn't come out yet. So she kind of walks slow, like you'll be coming out. And it's just to be annoying.
Synchronizing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's really annoying. But that's why I don't complain too much on Facebook, because you tell people, what's so annoying? When they do this, it's so annoying when they do that. And they do that every day. And the people that are watching are like, yeah, she really doesn't like that, or he really doesn't like that. Do it some more. So,
Yeah.
Different ways of looking
Teresa
at it.
says Tony P has some videos showing pulse EMP machine to shut down nanobots. If you have that link, can you please post it for us in the chat? Thank you, Teresa.
He has a really good
And
YouTube
then,
channel, but he doesn't post anymore. And I've actually tried to contact him, and his website is down. So I don't know if I don't know if he's okay. I don't know if he's just not participating in responding to people, because I've tried to email him.
oh, I hope he's okay. Missy says, OMG, taking our favorite things. It seems insane, but it's true. It is true. It's really true. She says they either prevent you from getting or they ruin, break, destroy stuff. They used to, my favorite food, one of my favorite foods is eggs. I love eggs, particularly boiled eggs.
Really?
Oh my gosh. I eat so many eggs.
I have fresh chicken eggs.
Oh, send me some.
Nice.
I love eggs. So I boil eggs all the time. But anyway, I said that to say, when I go to the grocery store, they love to break my eggs. They do. They either break them, they lift the container and they count them. Oh, let me just make sure you have 18 eggs, and they count them one by one. They like to play with my eggs. So they do all kinds of stuff. Or I'll get to the egg section. There's some broken eggs on the floor. It's like just all this prep activity. So I agree with you, Missy. They do all sort of stuff with the food.
They know that's your
Hey, Renata.
Yes.
Hey, they haven't done it in years, but about 7 years ago, when I was in Long Beach, I remember I used to open my egg carton crate thing or whatever, and then it looks like somebody flicked it like that with their nail and put a little dent in all my eggs.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was like, "What the?" I was gonna cuss, but I'm like, so this is how they get down? Like, this stupid. Like,
anything you write,
it's so bizarre.
Anything you write, they want to bother it. They just, and they're constantly looking to get under your skin. Try to get a reaction out of you, confrontation. All of that.
Yeah, ignoring for TIs now is a real serious skill. And for all TIs, I would say to ignore and learn how to manage, kind of, as we used to say back in the day, grin and bear it sometimes. You know what I mean? Because they're doing wrong, and we were raised that you're not supposed to do wrong, so we should do something, stand up for our rights and let people know if they're doing BS. But sometimes we got to let them go on. As long as you're not touching us or hurting us, you go ahead and let them do their thing, because we have things to do. And that's what's going to keep us on that survival mode, is that, that we have things to do to progress. Because even though they can hamper our progress, you know what I'm saying, we can't give in to their harassment.
Right. So true. I wake up with the mindset that I choose peace. I choose peace. It's a choice. And right. I don't want to deal with everybody's turmoil. Now, with that being said, I have boundaries. And if you cross my boundaries, that's when you're going to hear from me. But other than that, I choose peace. Like all that little petty stuff, you can do, whatever you need to do, and I will ignore it. But when we need to speak up, then we should, and we should respond and not react. Just respond calmly and get your message across.
Cool.
Teresa says even the VA doctors are aware and are working on a medical procedure that 4 months long extreme monitoring fighting Morgellons disease they have come up with. I used to hear a lot about Morgellons some years ago. I don't hear too much about that anymore. I hope they come up with something.
The VA is completely complicit. Complete.
Oh, are they?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm 100% disabled veteran, man. So I'd be up in there. I just got my ankle x-ray 2 days ago. And I'm gonna tell you something. The people funny acting. When I was in Long Beach and I would have serious sinus issues or something that only started since my targeting, and I would go and I would get the scan. They do a brain scan or whatever. And I remember LaWanna Reed had told me, she said, I don't know if you know her, she's up in the Bay Area too. But she said, make sure you get copies of the images and stuff like that. And I said, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna ask for a copy. And so then when I went in, everything was done. I asked the doctor, I said, "Oh, excuse me, sir. Do you think I can get a copy of the image? Or get a disc or something?" He's like, yeah, sure. Let me go check. And I'm looking at his eye when I'm talking to him because I know they ain't gonna give it to me. And they went back, and sure enough, when he came back, he was like, "You know what? We've been having some problems with our computer right now, but we'll try to go ahead and get it mailed out to you once we get everything squared away." Never seen it.
Wow. Didn't want you to have it.
No, because who knows what kind of implants I might have or what's going on in my head. What kind of damage maybe they see, to my brain or something.
Yes.
That is so sad how just about every entity has been compromised. And it's really not surprising. I did say, oh, wow, really? To the VA. But when I think about it, it's not surprising because they're a government entity.
Absolutely. That's why I'm not naming anything, just like Lorraine said, but I can't see any judge in the land siding with targeted individuals and going against the alphabet boys. You try to explain to me how that works. Like, okay, judges, they're all Freemasons, right?
I would think
they're
so.
All, most of them at least, they're sworn in. I mean, hey, and even if they wanted to go against the grain and say, you know what, this ain't right. I'm fighting everybody. I'm fighting the CIA, Homeland Security. I'm fighting everything, fusion centers, everybody. Do you know what kind of civil lawsuit that would be?
Yeah.
That would flip America upside down if Americans knew what they were actually doing to U.S. citizens in the United States of America. That's actually torturing elderly, children,
yes.
all that. What? Get out of here. It'll be done. That's why I'm like, it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
Not now. Not now. Maybe. I don't know. I don't want to jinx anything, but I don't think nothing like that's gonna happen now.
I know. Okay, let's see. Comments. Missy says, oh, yes, truth. I have developed extremely good gray rock skills. And Missy also says the entire medical community is complicit.
Yes.
She says, I was able to get my MRI scans of my brain and spinal cord, but no doctor would discuss the images with me and let me ask questions. That's interesting. They're supposed to, but they don't do what they're supposed to do. Carol says perps have comorbid and mutating personality disorders, namely malignant narcissism. Yes, definitely. And Teresa says nanosynthetic biology, most doctors have no clue, don't know what they're looking at. That is true. Well, that's the end of the comments. Did you two want to say anything else before we close? I'm going to have to go to work tomorrow.
How do I find Lorraine?
What?
Yes, Lorraine, please give us your contact information.
Oh, my contact information. Well, you can contact me at alternativehomesteading@gmail.com. And my YouTube channel is the same, Alternative Homesteading.
Okay.
And I'm here in rural Kentucky. And I wanted to mention this.
And what about your rescue? What about your cat rescue?
Oh, it's a Freya's Cat Rescue. The website is under development. I actually hired a targeted person to work on my website because it was taken down by the criminals back in New Jersey. I haven't had the money or the time. So this person offered, and it's still not up. It's still not up and running well. So I think he was compromised in some way. And
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, yes. So that's unfortunate. But yes, it's Freya's Cat Rescue. We are a Chewy.com partner. People who want to donate can purchase us gift cards through Chewy or go to our wish list or, PayPal me at Freya's Cat Rescue. And just, support targeted people. I mean, speak out, write letters. A lot of the representatives have websites, and on their websites, they have forms that you can fill in. You can actually cut and paste, a form letter into a document. I've done it with Senator Rand Paul on many occasions. You can go to his website, and he has a drop-down box on the contact information on the kinds of topics, and then you have the option of typing in your own subject heading and cutting and pasting a letter or something that you want in the body of the email, and he actually responds with an automated response usually. But a lot of representatives, I mean, especially in your own state, have websites where you can write letters, whatever it is, whatever the topic is. It doesn't even have to be long. You can actually call on the phone and leave a voice message. Please end this targeting program. Please expose the watch list.
Right. And we really need to be committed to doing as much activism as we can this year, because the targeting is getting real rough for all of us, I think. and we just need to get it exposed. It's nice when we do videos like this, but this is amongst our community for the most part. We need to get outside of our community and expose it to people who may not know about targeting.
You ever notice that? If you have a person and you say, "Hey, look up targeted individuals," and you type that in, it doesn't show channels like yours or anything like that. It'll show like the same couple targeted stuff that they had up there for like 7 years. Then they'll start showing some fake doctors and fake people up there talking about gang stalking or something, and say, "Oh, you have to take pills, you'll get better," or something like that.
Anybody talking about this is crazy. That's the type of video I come across.
Right.
My channel never gets promoted. You can hardly ever find my channel, so it is what it is. But it doesn't stop me or discourage me. I just keep going here. But you're right. There's only a few channels that they promote, and there's one guy. He's some sort of therapist. He did a whole video. It's like 2 hours long on how if anybody talks about mind control or being followed, that they're all crazy. And he has thousands of views on that video.
Is his last name Grande?
Oh yeah, that guy with the glasses.
with the glasses, yes.
Yeah.
You credit Myron Day. I wanted to go through the screen and yank his
I know. They promote that video. When you type in targeted individual mind control, his video is the first one that pops up.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's
so he has everybody thinking we're crazy. And the thing about that is he doesn't know about targeting. Somebody definitely put him up to that. He has not, you can't discredit someone and call them mentally ill if you have not evaluated them personally. He doesn't know us.
That's right.
He's not my doctor. He don't speak for me.
I took a couple of psychology classes in college, and I still don't understand how another human being that could take 6 or 7 years of psychology, or even 8 or 9, and sit there and tell somebody else that they're crazy anyway. But that's just me.
Well, you can't tell me my experience. Nobody can tell me my experience. I can't tell you yours. I don't care.
We know doctors go through divorces. Doctors get screwed around. Doctors lose all their riches, their yachts, their boats, their big houses, jobs, different things like that. And they have moments where they can look like they're a little bit off the kilt because of what's the current events of what's going on. So the whole crazy thing, it really makes you take a better, more intricate look at that word, especially after being targeted,
Yeah. Let's just read this comment. Freedom Voice says, Ted Gunderson. Oh my gosh, I used to love him. He passed away. Said the whole program is tied to the drug world and human trafficking. Lots of money involved. I believe that. I definitely believe that. Thank you for that comment. Let's see. People don't care about issues unless it directly affects their lives.
Anytime, actually.
Say it again. We couldn't hear you.
I don't think the program is going to end anytime soon.
Me
answer
either.
That question from, whether it's 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. I think the only thing that
that was me.
There's going to be a major earth-shattering, catastrophic events that may potentially stop the program.
Like shut down computers or do something.
Yes, because
Some Skynet stuff.
well, I think that we're going to have some catastrophic Earth events, and
Yeah.
it's going to take out a lot of people. It could be an earthquake. It could be something else, something that they're planning, for us. It could be in New York City. It could be a major city. People are talking about, part of California falling into the ocean, Florida going underwater.
New York is sinking. They say New York is sinking.
So, that's my feeling on that.
Lorraine, here's a question. Here's a question for you.
Cool.
This is for Lorraine. Missy says, do you think we targets should give up having pets, knowing what happens to them? And you can answer that too, True.
I'm going to answer that question because I had somebody in my comment section said, well, you should just give up all of your pets knowing what's going to happen to them. I said, if you had a child, would you give up your child? I said, first of all, I have rescued these cats from horrendous conditions and socialized them. Some of them have been with me for a long time. Why would I give up a pet because they may or may not be chosen for extinction? Hopefully, whatever they do to them is not going to last long. It doesn't usually last long. But the thing is, there are pets suffering in animal shelters. They're being relinquished to the streets in droves. They show up on my property. I would never give up any of my pets. And they target my chickens too. They harass my chickens too.
So,
Not
Lorraine.
Yes.
Speaking on that, like, suppose it was like beforehand, say for a person that does not have any animals, right, at all, and then they're targeted and they're lonely and they love animals and they would like to have one.
Yes.
How would you feel about that? Would you say, you know what, you don't have any now, don't do it because this might happen or might not? Or would you say, how would you feel about that?
Okay, I would never say that. I would never advise anyone under any circumstances to not have a pet. Pets are therapeutic. A cat's purr has healing energy. People love dogs. Some people have hedgehogs. There's a woman in the community that has a hedgehog. I would always say get a pet because a pet is therapy for you. We're alone. Why do you want to be alone? If you can't, if you can't have a relationship with somebody, you're a married man, but if you can't have a relationship with somebody, if we're also isolated, get a pet.
Yeah.
There are pets suffering in shelters. And the way I look at it is, with any pet that I adopt, I'm going to give them the best possible life for as long as I have them.
Because there's two sides of that coin, Lorraine. I commend you on that, by the way. But there's two sides of that coin, because some people might say, well, you know what? I don't have an animal now. Oh, I could rescue one, but you know what? If that animal comes to me, it's possible that that dog could be tortured with direct energy weapons for the next 10 years. Because of me bringing them into my home.
Well, actually, the way it works with the pets, I don't know if this has happened to you, okay? The way it
No,
works,
I haven't had an animal since I've been targeted, no.
Okay, the way it works is it works actually, unfortunately, fairly quickly. They will torture a pet for a week and it will be dead. I have videos on this, fortunately, about what they did to my cat Chicklet. Chicklet went from being perfectly healthy to them burning a hole in his face and him suffering. He did suffer a slow, painful death, like in a week, he was gone. But up until that point, this is the cat that I paid the $1,000 to move from New Jersey to Kentucky because he got stuck in the kitchen cabinet in New Jersey, and I had to have a rescue come and get him, and then I had to transport him to Kentucky. And he was fine for all these 4.5 years that I'm living here. until they decided to kill him. So I would tell anybody, you don't know how long you're going to have a pet, even if you're not a targeted person.
Right.
Even if you're not a targeted person, you can adopt a pet that you don't know at the time that you adopt them that's going to have a short life. I've had that happen to me. There are targeted people out there whose pets are never harmed. And then there are targeted people that tell me that their pets will get burned. They'll get a little burn. I think it depends on where you live, how heavy your targeting is, who you are, how badly they want to get you, what they want to get you for. They're trying to take out my cat rescue. That's the part of my life that is important to me. And plus, these witches, these Satanists, hate cats. They love to torture animals. They're psychopaths.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they sacrifice animals. They sacrifice them. We had a black cat in front of a dead black cat placed in front of our house.
Yes.
I've had Buddy since he was 3 months, maybe 6 weeks to 3 months old, and now he's 16. And he's older now. They have tortured him as well. And the vet tried to get us to put him down. That was last July, and he's still here. She told us he would die the next day, but he's still here. So they're involved as well, the vets. But I can't say, I mean, I have seen him. I know that he's targeted. They did so many things to him. But I don't regret having him. He has helped me, like you said, Lorraine, therapy. He's been so therapeutic. He taught me how to be courageous because I've had to stand up to loose dogs who they let out on him because he's a small little Yorkie. And they let these big dogs out on him. And I found myself standing up to these dogs several times without thinking twice. Like I never even thought twice, like you could get killed by this big dog, So I believe that was the Lord's way of helping me to become courageous, teaching me that, you know what, Buddy used to, he's older now, but he used to demand his walks. Like he would jump up and practically break the door down if I didn't take him out on walks. And now I look back and say that was the Lord's way of getting me out of the house, teaching me they don't get to keep you in the house. You get to go outdoors. And so we go out and we take these walks. And it was just a beautiful experience that I will never forget. I will never regret. And I think anyone who wants a pet, because they are great companions. They are great companions. Absolutely. Cats, dogs, chickens, whatever, a horse, whatever. I remember I had goldfish. I loved my fish. I would go to the tank and just be mesmerized watching them in their little tank. And I had little in there. Whatever pet it is for you, it could be a parakeet, it could be whatever, a hamster, whatever. But they are great. It teaches you how to care for something, how to nurture, how to love. And I'll tell you another thing about pets. When you're having a bad day, they are there for you. They love you unconditionally.
And they do I'm all for it. They do hilarious things too. Like I have chickens and guinea fowl here. And they do some of the funniest things. Like I yell at my roosters, like they go chasing off my little girly hens. And then the guineas, they're I call them my guinea gang stalkers because they follow me everywhere I go. They're so funny. But they make you laugh. They do stupid things. They do hilarious things. And I will always have a pet.
And you have to feed them. You have to nurture them. You have to feed them. You have to clean them. It gives you something to do. You're caring for someone. They don't want you to have pets, But your local rescue is full of pets that need to be adopted. I'm all for it. I think you guys should do it if you can, in your house or apartment but you do have to have time and you have to take care of them. It's a real commitment. So,
yes.
So, Missy, we hope that answers your question. And then Boxing Restricted says, I bet most of the home invasions will stop. Oh, someone was saying, let's go here. Excuse me, Boxing Restricted said, this is for Lorraine. I'm surprised Lorraine hasn't gotten a pack of protection dogs to patrol her farm and protect her and her animals. Lorraine, I suggest you get a couple of Borobos, awesome, loyal protection dogs. You ever thought
Okay,
about that?
this is the thing with dogs. Okay, you can't just let dogs roam. You need to get them licensed, babies, and stuff. And in order for me to have dogs, I would need to get them as a puppy. Okay, I need to get them as a puppy because I already have farm animals. I've got chickens. Dogs love to eat chickens and chase them and play with them and kill them. So unless I got a puppy and trained a puppy, and I have cats, unless I got a puppy, I don't have time for a puppy or to train a puppy. I thought about having a dog. I even have had dogs wander onto my property that I almost kept. It was a disaster. I don't want to get a dog. I don't want to set up a run for them. I don't want the responsibility of my dog getting into a fight with another dog. And also, just the way they target us, these criminals, these cloaked criminals with their lasers and tasers and whatever, the way you're saying, oh, well, you should give up your cats for adoption because they get targeted. Well, you don't think they're going to take out a security dog? A security dog is a bigger threat to these people than a cat.
And well, I know a target that has 4 Great Danes. No, I'm sorry, she has Doberman Pinschers, and they like radiate them and things, but they haven't killed them or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Missy says after they killed my last cat in 2020, I said no more. But the kitty I have now came to me. So that is my calling. And yes, they attack what's most important to you. Well, I'm glad you have another kitty. Missy says I've even had.
That's right.
Missy has also been perked at the vet. I have too. So that I know that's true. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Too.
And Leslie says, God bless all TIs. He sees what's happening to us and what we're going through. Amen. He sure does. And Remnant says, just don't let your pet suffer. No, you have a real responsibility, just as if they were a human. You have a responsibility to your pets. And then Remnant says, when you're targeted, it's not fair to the pet in your home. Well, like Lorraine said earlier, what if it was a child? What are you going to do? Put your child out? What are you going to do? Say you're newly married, or even if you're not married, you want to have a baby. You don't have a child now, but do you decide not to have children because you're targeted? I mean, some people.
I'm not going to change my life for a perp. I'm not going to change my life for a perpetrator.
That's true.
I like that mentality.
They have hair.
What mentality? True.
No, when she says she's not going to let those people dictate how she's going to live her life.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
I'm just going to keep living my life. They destroy my farm. They have stolen security lights. They burned down all of my berry shrubs. They planted grass in my vegetable garden. They threw rocks from my driveway into my garden. They're disgusting. They're absolutely disgusting. But I just keep going. I'm not going to give up.
Right. There you go. Impale the Monarch says those perps using DEWs, EMF, WG. Ever notice they have hair balding from radiation exposure generating in themselves? Many have cancer themselves or relatives have it. Interesting. Carol, yeah. Carol says boycott the puppy mill. The Amish have been indicted for deplorable treatment of dogs in their commercial farms. Oh, that's terrible.
Absolutely. That's absolutely true. Well, I have to tell you, here in Kentucky, they've got the worst. The animal laws here are not good. The people here take advantage of animals. They breed animals. They let them run wild. New Jersey, at least, the animal laws, the animal protection laws were a lot more stringent, and people seem to take care of their animals better there, I mean, for the most part. I mean, I'm sure, there are people that abuse their animals all over the country. It's a horrible thing. But yes, you never buy an animal from a puppy mill. And some of those pet stores, it depends on the pet store. Go to your local animal shelter. There are people now that are becoming homeless. There are people that can't pay their rent. They have to move into apartments that won't allow them to have pets. People who have had the pets their whole lives are giving up their pets. So if you want to adopt an animal, go to an animal shelter and adopt one.
I agree. Okay, you guys, we have been going 3 hours. That went by fast.
It went by fast.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Lorraine, for coming and sharing with us today. I really, really do appreciate it. This was a very good conversation. Truth, thank you so much for your input as well. Did you want to say anything, Truth, before we end?
Yeah, just I want to say the same thing. It was nice meeting you, Lorraine. Nice listening to what you had to say, and hopefully you come back on the show again or the podcast again, so we can talk more.
Thank you.
I like people that just attack it. When you have that mentality, it's refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like hope. It's a hopeful way of doing things.
Yes, well, thank you so much, and thank you, Renata, for having me. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Please come back again. Did you want to say anything in closing, Lorraine?
Just in closing, keep the faith, guys. I mean, I don't think the program's going to end anytime soon, but the thing is, they're profiting off of you. They don't want to get rid of you that fast. They want you to go slowly and milk you for everything that you've got. So, just be as joyful as possible. And, after they steal something from you, you do what I do. You create a song about them, laugh at them, accuse, they're cowards. And somebody
That's right.
said it they're cowards. These are bullies. These are babies, bullies, immature. They're cowards. I mean, they throw IEDs on my property and then they run and they laugh and giggle about it. I mean, who
imagine that
mindset? They're psychopaths. They're addicts. They're addicted to us.
That's true.
They have an obsession and a compulsion with us. And plus they're getting paid under the table. And keep this in mind, guys. We could report them all for not declaring their income. They have unreported.
That's true.
Yes, they're not paying taxes on those gift cards. All that money they're getting on the side.
That is true. Well, Impel the Monarch calls you an awesome guest.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I mean, there's a lot more that I could have shared because I've been going through this for so long. But
next time, because we definitely want you to come back so you can share next.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, thank you everyone for joining us today. If you are watching this podcast after the video, I should say, if you're watching this video after the fact, please leave your comments in the comment section. Please thumbs up the video and please subscribe to my channel if you are not already subscribed. Thank you guys. Have a great night, everybody.
Blessings, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
What do I do?
Thank you, Truth. Good night.
Good night.